Malik Nabers. Malik Nabers speaking about his toe. We got more Tank Bigsby news, more MHJ news. Cam Skattebo running with the ones. Cam Skattebo looking phenomenal right now in camp. Super excited about that. The Fantasy Football Show. Breaking news show Monday through Friday. Every single Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. That show begins right now. File on in.
Live from the FantasyFootballShow.com studios. It's the Fantasy Football Show. Live! Monday through Friday, 8 p.m. Eastern. Smitty is also live whenever news breaks.
Lots of news to dig into, but I'll say right now that the one that concerns me the most right now is going to be this Malik Nabers situation still. Not saying to avoid him, not saying he's a bust, but I think there's a time and a place to diversify your portfolio and be very careful in terms of your shares and where you collect them and how many shares of Malik Nabers you have in 2025. Speaking to Kay Adams regarding his toe today, he said it's like a mosquito that don't want to go away. And then when she said the kind of mosquito you can squash, and he said this is one of those big ones that you can't kill. And so, he was joking when he said it. Obviously, he's choosing words impromptu as he's interviewing, and maybe he, chooses the wrong words at the wrong time. And he's like, oh, that might open a can of worms. But the bottom line is the fact that this thing is really, in my opinion, a very big late season concern and risk factor that people won't want to consider now because he looks great now. When a player looks amazing and they say to themselves, look how good he looks, I don't even care. That's kind of the normal phrase you're going to hear is, I don't care, I'm drafting him. And I am too. I'm not running away from Nabers, but he has to fall in ADP. You can't draft him. He's got to go from probably some sort of, let's call it a 1.7 ADP is where Nabers was going. This is Malik Nabers. And that was his home run territory because he really could be talent-wise the number one wide receiver in the league. So 1.7 is kind of a steal if he's fully healthy. This has to drop him to that 1.12 to 2.1 turn. It just has to, because there are players like Genty. There are just safer avenues to travel on players that don't have an injury, a toe injury that has been sitting there like a mosquito, never going away, incapable of going away until he has surgery. These things don't just stay dormant. You could say he's been playing with it since college. That's going to get progressively worse. It's going to be like any injury. You can keep it at bay. You can try and have those tissues in the ligaments get a little stronger and they feel like they're rested, but then they start getting sore again. And then they start getting sore quicker. And then your recovery time gets shorter. The amount of time that you were able to fend off without that certain amount of pain, it's getting shorter each year. And the fact that he says this isn't the kind of mosquito you can squash, you need surgery. It eventually needs surgery. And saying that he's got a good plan in place. He's been working with Russell Wilson's guy, and they've got a real good plan in place. This is not good news for a team that might have 4 or 5 wins come week 14, week 15. This is just one of those situations where someone's going to say, bad luck, I'm never drafting him again. It's really, really hard to buy into Nabers over a guy like even Drake London right now, who could arguably be the number one wide receiver in the league this year in 2025. For some reason, Drake London has a big hate fan base or anti-fan base against him. A big, like there's an anti-Drake London. I don't know what it is. I think it's because many other reasons in psychology that we bring to the table here in fantasy football and psychology, that people are late to the party on Drake London, or they've talked trash about Drake London so much, and they put so many bad receipts out, they have to continue to just shovel onto it no matter how they really truly feel. Drake London could easily be the number one wide receiver in the league. He's going into an unbelievable situation with Penix Jr. with a cannon attached to his arm. Penix Jr. could be a top 5, 6, 7 quarterback this year. He could throw for 4,500 yards and easily 34, 35 TDs. Drake London's going to feast. So while everybody's going to pretend that it's not the trendy thing and it's an embarrassment of decisions to go with a London or even a BTJ over Nabers. Look, BTJ outscored Nabers last year. Drake London was top 5 in many ways last year without getting or Drake London was top 5 last year in many ways without even getting Penix Jr. until the final 3 games. He was top 5 in red zone targets. He was top 5 in target rate, top 5 in air yards, number 9 in receptions, number 4, and much of this with Kirk Cousins, number 4 in yards, number 9 in TDs. And when he had Penix Jr. in there, he's on a pace of 1,995 yards, 221 targets, and 125 receptions. So it is what it is. It's, again, not a run away from Nabers, don't draft him, but start being smart about it. Be very smart about it and think about what it means to be in week 14. Take a little trip down future lane and project what it's going to feel like in week 14 if his toe is getting worse. He's told you he eventually needs surgery this offseason possibly, and the team, the Giants, probably not going to be a team that has more than, I would guess, they probably don't have a shot at the playoffs. Let's just put it that way. So if you think they're going to have more than 5 wins or whatever at this point in the season, regardless, if there's a no playoff hope, then you're sitting here in week 14, in week 15, in week 16, wondering if the team is going to sit there in a boardroom, a bunch of suits, looking around and going, "What do you think, Steve? What do you think, Bill? Well, I think that we don't have a playoff shot. Why don't we get a jump on this surgery and recovery?" How is that not going to be in the conversation? And if you say, "Well, Smitty, I just have a feeling the Giants are going to surprise you," I unfortunately have bad news for you. There's little to no shot that they make the playoffs. If the Commanders win the division, then the Eagles get the wild card. If the Eagles win the division, then the Commanders get the wild card. That's just the way it is. Falcons, Bucks, same thing. There are 2 wild card spots already gone. The Falcons or the Bucks will have one. The Commanders or the Eagles will have the other. Now you've got the Niners, you've got the Cowboys, you've got the Cardinals. Let's say the Rams win the division and the Detroit Lions win the division. You've got the Vikings, you've got the Packers, you've got even the Panthers might make a little run. There's no way the Giants are besting all of those teams for the final wild card spot. 0 chance. So will you tell me what the odds are of an early shutdown of Malik Nabers with a toe injury in a nothing burger season come week 14? That's all I'm saying. Maybe you could say this, though. Maybe you draft him and you trade him high. Because could he be, in the first month of football, the number 1 wide receiver in the league? Absolutely. Could Nabers equal? So this is one of those things where I will tell you, if you feel confident in your trade skills, Nabers in the first 1 to 2 months of football could be wide receiver 1 through 4. Anywhere in that territory, Nabers could be wide receiver 1, 2, 3, or 4 in the first 2 months of football. So my advice would be trade him by week 8. Trade by week 8 to be safe. It could be week 9, it could be week 10, it could be week 11. If your plan is to take him, if you want to ride the coattails of a top 5 wide receiver through the first 2 months of football, I, Smitty, approve that. In fact, I think it's a great idea. If you know you can pull it off, there's some risk to it, but it's not a bad move.
You've just been Smitty approved.
However, if you think you're going to keep this player all year and you get to week 8 and you can't pull the trigger on said move,
you've just been Smitty disapproved.
So there's that. That's that. Also, prayers up to the situation, the shooting situation over, I believe, at the NFL building, right? This is a horrible, horrible situation. 1 officer down. Prayers up for that family. Others injured in this madness. Shooting suspect is no longer on Earth. NYPD officers and civilian NYPD officer and civilian were shot in Midtown Manhattan on Monday. So prayers up. Looks like that building has been locked down. That is the Blackstone building that contains Blackstone and NFL headquarters. So prayers up on that situation. That is insane. So drop a prayer emoji if you can for anybody that may have somebody injured or somebody that lost somebody. There's still a lot being gathered, so there could be more injuries and such to be reported. That's Nabers. Let's talk about this situation. Tank Bigsby continues to get number one run because now Bashal Tootin has a hamstring injury. You have ETN running with the threes consistently, or was, now obviously with Tootin out. But Bigsby keeps running with the ones, and he is, quote unquote, the focal point of the rushing attack in camp right now. Not getting a little bit more than normal reps or slightly edging out ETN and Tootin in the pecking order or the ratio of carries and touches. Tank is going to the moon. Tank, we're very thankful for Tank Bigsby, who is a mid-season monster. Mid-season monster. Look at him. Look at him. As is this man, Cam Skattebo, who we're going to talk about next. But Bigsby, mid-season monster, Moon Man, in training, on his way. We still love Tootin. It's a cuff that you might want to own. It's the same thing as last year's Garendo Mason, who are both still on the board as separate teams now. But Mason and Garendo are similar to Tootin Bigsby. You still need to have Tootin if you have Bigsby. We're going to talk about Cam Skattebo in a second, who's running with the ones as well. So our mid-season monster board is looking damn exciting, I must.
Let him cook.
I mean, jeez. Nothing like playing the air drums to a mid-season monster, dropping wattage on the field in camp right now, gaining momentum, getting the RB1 reps, multiple days, focal point. Focal point is the word being used with Tank Bigsby. Focal point. In what? Oh, Smitty, that's okay. It's camp. It's Liam Cohen's offense. This is the Bucky Irving of Liam Cohen's offense right now. And before you say, run your mouth and say, Smitty, he's not Bucky. First of all, you don't have the ability to tell us who is or who isn't Bucky. We'll take care of that ourselves. Okay? We have it under control. Don't you worry about that. And when we look at the game log, let me see if I can find that game log of Tank Bigsby so that we can discuss how amazing he was. I believe this is it. Yeah, this is it right here. Tank Bigsby had his moment last year before Bucky did, and there was a time where this was a full load drop proposition on the waiver wire board as people exited. You know, it was I think it was week 4, and we walked into the waiver wire show.
Initiate full load drop.
And so we're looking at this guy. Check out these numbers. These numbers are insane. They're absolutely ludicrous. In week number, 5? 102 and 2 touchdowns on the ground. 13 totes, 7.8 a pop. This London game was a misstep for everybody, but only got 7 carries. It wasn't his fault. Next game, 26 totes, 118 and 2 touchdowns. Next game, 18, 78. He was rolling there. Touchdown and 55 yards. Touchdown, 50 yards. Touchdown and 39 yards. Good yards per rip. This guy had 4.6 a carry, 7 TDs, 766 without really starting a grip of games. This was a monster. This is all before Bucky, and so he had those glimpses of being Bucky-esque. Yards per tackle, yards after contact per attempt. Like, this guy was up there and in a remarkable fashion, and he looked very much like a Bucky in some sense, breaking out, and then it kind of fell flat, whereas Bucky broke out, and then you wondered if he would continue, and he did. Sometimes these things have a way of being a warning shot from the season prior. In a way, you almost think like a Monroe St. Brown's rookie year, big shot of glory at the end, and we put him on the Moon Men list. He was one of the first Moon Men to ever grace our screen here, and we knew Amon-Ra was exploding, and we told you. Amon-Ra did it live.
Mashed potatoes!
And the same thing, it feels very, very similar in the way that the warning shots there, the telegraphing's there, and I don't know that people see it coming. But we've tried to do our best to warn the masses. Bigsby to the moon, as you see on the left right there. And hopefully you guys have him in your leagues. Again, make sure you do not cut Tootin. There's still a chance Tootin, gets a hold of that job at some point. Cam Skattebo running with the ones. Let's go.
Let him cook.
I think ironically we had this question yesterday, Cam or Bigsby or Cam Skattebo. And Cam Skattebo, until he gets first team reps, which he did today, it's hard to know when he will be unleashed or if this team understands what they have in Cam Skattebo. So now we have that information. You do get to a point where Cam Skattebo is a sleeping giant that might be being awoken right now. Like right now, he might be awoken. This might be the Kraken waking up. He's a phenom. The big play potential pops every time this guy's involved. Like a ball bounces in the air and he grabs it, tiptoes into the end zone, scores a touchdown in practice yesterday. And then today pops a run out to the outside, catches another unbelievable football. This guy just completely doesn't know how to play football unless it's a big pop playmaking monstrosity of a play in the best of ways. This guy knows how to make a big splash. He carries himself so big. His energy's huge, and he performs. He's a performer, is I guess the best way to describe him. An absolute performer. And when he gets a shot, he tears it up. And he's a beast. He's a monster. He's tough. He catches the ball. He throws the ball. He runs the ball well. He does everything. It's just kind of like when he's around, it's a magnet. He's a magnet to big plays and getting the football. And he may just steal this job before week 1. Or at least be in a position where it's 50-50. But even if it's not, I'm not worried about it because his ability to gravitate toward greatness whenever given a shot means at some point he's taking the job. He's taking the job, and that's why he's been sitting on the midseason monster list as long as anybody. This guy's been sitting there in his pre-NFL draft. We swapped. I think we swapped his logo, his photo out after the NFL draft photos. This guy's been sitting on this board as long as almost anybody. Charbonnet's been here probably the longest. Ray Davis has been here probably. Grendo and Mason, and then it was probably Cam Skattebo. Scam. He's no scam. He's no scam. Scam Skattebo. He's not. He may look like it. People think he's a scam. He's not. He's not. No scam Skattebo here. And when people say like, how's he gonna do it? I tell them there's video footage of this.
What is that smell? Someone needs me. Help! Help! I'm going to lose my fantasy week! Somebody help! Call the Scat Man! I am Scat Man. Who needs my help? Wow. Bang, bam, boom. To the moon. Now it's time to go pick up your mother. Bang, boom.
Cam Skattebo going to the moon. He lives on the moon. He's got the Bat Cave already up there, the Scat Cave. Scat Cave has been built in one of the moon's craters. You may have seen Scat traveling in and out of that crater as he, prepares for each week and comes down and visits the Earth. This guy lives on the moon. Love Cam. Honestly, don't even know at what point, we start talking about him as like a running back, a high-end running back 3 or high-end flex play. It's a little early now, but it's happening. It feels like it's happening. Tank Bigsby take over, Cam Skattebo take over. It feels like it's happening. For those that missed it, I won't touch on this too much. But this extension, this $41 million guaranteed $92 million 4-year extension for Courtland Sutton certainly throws a monkey wrench into the contract negotiation of McLaurin for the Commanders and Terry McLaurin's camp. However, it is very, very logical. It's very, very understandable that there is potentially a avenue of solution that is created by this contract, meaning that there's two ways that this could go. This could either piss off McLaurin more and just, and make, because it makes the Washington Commanders not only dig their heels in, but almost back up a little bit. And so if you have McLaurin sitting there with, let me put McLaurin's mug on screen because we're talking about him, and I want to make sure we're doing that more often. Whenever we're talking about anybody, you guys have this sitting here for replay, for skipping around the live stream. McLaurin, if he's set in his ways, let's say McLaurin wants $60 million guaranteed. Let's just say that's what he wants. Okay, that's what McLaurin wants. He wants $60 million guaranteed, and let's say the $41 million guaranteed by Sutton is like he's spitting in his face if you offer that. It's possible that the Commanders were willing to be flexible. Let's say they were offering him $45 million guaranteed. Let's say this is what McLaurin was going to get. So McLaurin was looking at this, and now that this $41 million goes to Sutton, it's possible that this triggers some sort of, now the Commanders aren't even going to wiggle from this, and McLaurin's like, I'm not going closer to this $41 million. I want my 50. I want my 60, and this is what's being offered. The Commanders are just going to back off, and that could create, if McLaurin doesn't wiggle with the movement, he's going to just create this stalemate, and the Commanders aren't going to budge. Or it's very possible that the Commanders offered him something like $50 million guaranteed, and there's a possibility that McLaurin sees that Sutton, who's a very similar wide receiver in age, in production, and he's the number one for his team, there's nothing but similarities about these two wide receivers. And so if this is the guaranteed offer, million guaranteed going to Sutton, that the Commanders are like, maybe we should pull this mofo's offer. Maybe we should just give him $45 million guaranteed, so McLaurin could race to sign it and be like, okay, hold on, that last offer is pretty good. Now, again, will McLaurin request a trade? Maybe. There needs to be a divide between team and player, which we're on the verge of happening. That's a component involved in a trade like this happening where the team doesn't benefit from making the trade. It needs to have a player divide between team and player, and it needs to have an offer that the team can't refuse. And once the divide is there, so offer or offers, once the divide is there, this offer will look attractive. Right now, it doesn't look attractive because what do the Commanders benefit in getting a second-round pick, even if the offer is too good to pass up, like a second-rounder for a 30-year-old wide receiver? Well, if there's a divide and unrepairable relationship, then this offer becomes attractive. I don't think we're there yet, but we're getting close to having that divide. And then an offer may come in. T-Guns coming in with the $50 wad on screen. T-Guns, appreciate you, my boy. Dropping it live.
$50. Give me $50, holla. Get by the brother, Smitty. Give me $50.
That's my boy right there. T-Guns dropping it like it's hot. What is T-Guns saying? God, I got to clean my office. This studio's a mess right now. Hey, Smitty, thanks for JD5 last year. You bet, T-Guns. There's nothing I enjoy more than dropping winners, T-Guns, than dropping winners.
Let him cook.
This is your cut. Bang, bam, boom. To the moon. Appreciate you, T-Guns, dropping that like it's hot. T-Guns to the mother flipping moon. All right. Another super chat. That was from T-Guns. This one's from Torres. Torres, appreciate you. 12-team PPR, pick 12. What's your strategy here? It depends on so many different factors and variables. Cannot tell you a specific thing. I will say that I love Genty and Achane if you feel like it's very wide receiver friendly in the 3rd and 4th round, meaning you could get Rice and an MHJ, Garrett Wilson and Travis Hunter. You can, if you know, in Travis Hunter, you might be able to get later, but at that pick, maybe not. Maybe you got to reach for him. But I'm fine with Garrett Wilson and MHJ or anything. If you can get that, Rice and MHJ would be phenomenal. Rice and Garrett Wilson. If you can do that, that running back, that Genty, Achane, Bucky, any one of those, 2 of those 3, I'm loving that. But there's something safe about BTJ and Genty, or Achane and BTJ. I don't think you can go wrong. It's a fantastic situation. Just make sure you understand your league, and that will guide you into maybe not going into a direction that you're going to be starved of wide receiver and you'll never recover. So only you can know that. Melvin, you can call in if you want to discuss it a little bit further, but certainly is something that you're going to have to decide for yourself. I'll just tell you that I'm very, very happy in normal non-best ball leagues where the wide receiver saturation, unlike on Underdog where it's very wide receiver heavy, and we'll be drafting tonight. If you want to draft with us, smash this link right here. Smash that link right there. Do it live. So hit it, do it live, and then we'll draft tonight. 50% match on your first deposit all the way up to $1,000. That link I'm going to pin right now in the live chat. Please hit that link and sign up ahead of time, or you won't get into the drafts tonight. We draft almost every night at midnight. We go live on this channel almost every single night at midnight. I see this show is predominantly geared toward 12-team leagues in which I could exploit the information in a 10-team league. I'm not sitting here gearing anything to anything. I mean, of course, fantasy football in general is geared toward a 12-man league. All the drafts, most mock drafts, almost every contest you ever do. So this isn't me. It's not my show. It's that we cater to questions that are constantly and consistently around 12. So it's one of those things where, you control this narrative by asking me a 10-man question. I have a live phone line. You can super chat. And if I see your question, you can drop a question like this. You can super chat, and I'll answer any 10-man question you want. So, and I'm not trying to put you on blast. I appreciate this because it helps me highlight something. So you're doing a good job with this question. But it's on anybody watching to make this show what they want it to be, because you can control any narrative you want by calling in or super chatting specifically, and very much appreciated. Never expected, but always appreciated. And you turn the show into whatever your question is. So you want to know about 10-man leagues? Super chat a 10-man league question, my boy, and you will get 10-man league answers. And so you control the show. I work for you.
Let's go, mashed potatoes!
Yep. To an extent. You can only push me so far. And then I don't work for you anymore. I'll tell you that. But, yeah, so ask away. Drop a super chat specifically, and you can change the tone and direction of an entire segment. So I always find it funny when people say, well, you don't really talk about that. I can talk about whatever you super chat. The only thing we don't cover a ton at all really is IDP. We'll talk about how, Hunter's going to break IDP, but we don't cover a lot of IDP for several reasons. One, it's just not as interesting to me in general, and the sum total of everybody watching doesn't want it. And so you get a lot less viewers, even though there's a bunch of hardcore people into it. That's the only thing we don't really cover. We cover everything. Bro, a 10-man auction, super flex, doesn't matter. Best ball. Everyone says we're geared, primarily toward best ball too. We're not. This narrative is the reason best ball is so important is because it's the platform where people are, making money and crushing it. And we cover that. And it's a sponsor on Underdog. We love promoting Underdog to the moon. If anybody wants to draft on Underdog, by the way, tonight, just hit that link that's pinned in the live chat. The link's in the description. Code Smitty gets it done. 50% match. We'll be drafting tonight. We draft every single night on Underdog. So, yeah, we do talk about it a lot. But guess what? Paid leagues, they provide the best ADP. And even though the ADP is very wide receiver geared, I'd still take a ADP data that's wide receiver heavy with my mind being able to in crafty fashion, understand the ins and outs of the wide receiver heavy ADP environment and adjust it in my mind a little bit. And say, yeah, I know I'm probably getting Rice in round 4.5 to 5.1 versus underdog. He's going 4.1 to 4.5. And I can keep that in mind. Then go to a platform of ghost town auto drafting computer bots that are piling bad data upon bad data. And Stevie's hot pockets getting warmed up by his mama, and his Game Boy is out of batteries and he's upset, and he leaves the mock draft in the middle of the 5th round. Or Stevie Boy goes in and just wants to draft, let's say, Hampton at the 2.11 over and over and over again. So he smashes Hampton ahead of ADP every time, and then he leaves the draft. Starts a new one. Hampton 2.1, Hampton 2.8, Hampton 2.7, and Stevie Boy jumps straight out of the draft every time, and you get his auto team added to the ADP data. I'd rather have ADP data from a paid environment where people pay their hard-earned money and they don't leave a league. They don't leave a draft. They draft till round 18, till the bitter end. And so the data is consistent and accurate all the way down to round 18. Whereas mock draft data, you get past round 10, it's all computer data. It's all bad ADP data piled onto bad ADP data. So mock draft ADP is not my cup of tea, and it shouldn't be yours. That's why underdog, even if you can't play it, you should be grateful of the data and information, the ADP specific data that is provided from it to help guide you in your draft. Day 6, 13,000 steps. Rockout's going to have his feet fall off. That's unbelievable. How many days until the NFL season? Let's ask Krug. How many days until the NFL season? Hey, Krugmeister, how many days until the NFL season? Is it 39 or 40?
It's 40 days until the NFL season.
40 days until the NFL season kicks off. That means the 40-day challenge is in full effect. What's the 40-day challenge, you ask? Well, I'm glad you asked. The 40-day challenge is essentially you choose whatever betters your life, whatever challenge or goal you want to set, and you can set it on day 39, day 38. Every day will be the 38-day challenge, the 37-day challenge. We're not going to stop calling it the day challenge that it is, so anybody can jump in at any point. You don't need to start at the beginning. So from now on, 40 days until kickoff on Thursday night, what do you want to improve on? Let's start today. Mine is to get down to 200 pounds. I'm already down to 212, 213. BBQ's dropping a $500 hauler if I get to my 200 pound weight. So we'll be doing it live. I'll be running every day. I quit drinking the Mexican Cokes. I'm still drinking the vitamin water, but this is a lot less calories. And so I've cut back on like 800 to 1,000 calories alone just doing that. I'm running, I'm working out. Choose what you want to do. 40 days, let's do it together. Tomorrow, if you decide to do it later, it'll be a 39-day challenge. The next day, it'll be a 38-day challenge. Even if we get down to 20 days, it'll be a 20-day challenge. Whatever you want to do it live. Someone said HHH and Associates.
In a jam.
Of course.
HHH and Associates.
Triple H and Associates. Locations on Earth and Jupiter.
Of course. Let's see. Dooney says, I started almost a week ago. No candy. There you go. You're going to better your life. Let's better our lives together. I just want you guys to say, who's this ripped man in front of me 40 days from now? And then when you find out it's me, you're like, is that Smitty? Was he wearing a meat suit earlier? What's he doing? That you're in it with me and we all feel good together. You know, there's nothing worse than seeing somebody do something and you didn't do it. And you're like, I'm quietly happy for you, but actually not. You know, like when someone in the family starts working out and no one else is, nobody supports that person because everyone's a little bit bitter. They're like, why are you getting in shape? Who said you got to do something good? So let's all do something good together. That way we're all excited for each other. 10-man super flex. Here's a 10-man question. Start 11, 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, 4 flexes, and a tight end, no defense. What do you think about DK and Waller for Brees and Sinnett? I would rather have Brees and Sinnett by a country mile. This is one of the worst trades I've heard all week. If this guy offered it to you, I'd send him this at 34 minutes into the show.
You are offer sex. You are made offer sex.
And just in case you're on the other side of this, then it could be your offer that sucks. Whatever. This DK is not better. DK and Waller side is not better. I would take Hall and Ben Sinnett. And by the way, Sinnett might not be on the radar yet, but Zach Ertz is getting older. there's a chance that Zach Ertz doesn't end up, getting hurt again and he stays in the lineup all year. But there's a reason that Ben Sinnott was drafted by this man, Adam Peters, this mastermind over in Washington. And I still very much see a player that could be a monster if he ever gets unleashed. But at the end of the day, I'm doing this or holding this, whichever side it is. If you're pulling off this trade, then smash it. Hall over DK. DK and Waller. Waller, I'd rather have Sinnott than Waller. Even without him being like in the lineup ready to rumble yet. Just the ability of him versus Waller. Waller's not going to stay healthy. Waller can't stay healthy. This is the funniest thing in the world. People are drafting Waller, who's not even healthy right now. He's already hurt. So, no, I like DK. I don't love DK. I love Hall. So, this is an easy, lean toward Hall.
You've just been...
Hall's been Smitty approved. I don't know if this trade has. Thank you for asking, though. Look, that's why the tough questions get asked sometimes on this channel, and my passionate response is helping guide you, not digging into your question. But it's a great one for people to see, especially in a 10-man, bro. You don't need DK. You probably are pretty stacked, I imagine. And Hall is a better player. Hall's a top 5 potential running back. DK could get you like 12 to 15 wide receiver numbers. Hall has a chance of being a top 5 wide running back. Maybe he isn't. I'm not saying he's a lock, but Hall still has a chance to be a top 5 running back. All right. Where were we at? We talked about Sutton. We talked about everything pretty much. There's a lot of other things lingering, but let's open phone lines.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Dial in. Thank you again, KB, for that message, that super chat. Thank you, KB. Thank you, Rock Out. The steps are amazing. Thank you, T-Guns, for the $50 hauler. And thank you, Melvin, for the other super chat. You guys are awesome. Keep them rolling. I'll answer supers in order in which they're received. MHJ looks phenomenal. Did I not talk about MHJ yet? I haven't talked about MHJ yet. MHJ looks phenomenal. Now, there's some mixed stuff, though, going on with this. MHJ, he made a remarkable catch. I've got it on my Instagram. If anybody wants to go check out my Instagram, here it is right here. Let me pull it up. Yeah, so here it is. MHJ looking really solid in this clip. There's a lot of clips of MHJ, looking like this. But here's just one simple clip of him. And there's some other clips where like he fell down today when, I think it was a nice defensive, smack, and he fell down and people are like, see, MHJ, but MHJ's been making plays like this. And remember, he put on the weight. He's got the extra LBs. He looks phenomenal. He's running routes all over the place. There were 2 other clips that people pieced together. They pieced it together, and it was of Kyler looking MHJ running downfield all by himself. And then there was another play of MHJ making a cut, running to the left, wide open, didn't get the ball, and then people were ripping on Kyler. But the other thing, you don't really have all the context. They could be, trying to run a play a certain way, and they might be trying to have Kyler work on a specific throw. And so for everybody to just assume that Kyler isn't seeing him on the field at all, I know they're scared about last year, but it's not like it's always going to be what you think it is in practice. So I'm not worried about those things. I'm very excited about a man in MHJ that had nearly 900 yards receiving, and he had 8 TDs last year in a year where people think Kyler didn't look his way. Well, then why did he have 8 touchdowns? MHJ had a phenomenal, season in that respect, in touchdowns alone. 8 touchdowns. Again, I hate to keep saying this about Puka. I'm not trying to disrupt Puka apart, but it's such a crazy stat that Puka Nacua has 9 TDs on his career. He has not breached 10 total touchdowns. He has 28 games played. Puka Nacua, this is Puka, and MHJ goes out and has 8 TDs his rookie year, and everybody's complaining. So 8 touchdowns versus 9 in 28 games. MHJ is has a nose for the ball, nose for the end zone, and it's going to show and be on full display this year. St. James, appreciate your super chat here. It's a blank one. It's a $5 hauler. I'll see if you have another question anywhere. I don't, I'm sorry, KR James, sorry. Let me see if I can find James. James, where are you at? I don't know that I see another message from you yet, but I appreciate you dropping that. I'll look for it. I'm trying to keep it attached because, by the time I see it, it'll be like 15 messages away, and I won't even piece it together. Salty, appreciate you dropping the $20 hauler.
Alert. Super chat alert.
Salty bringing the heat. League mate kept hounding me to trade Nabers this offseason. I ignored him for months till he offered me London. And and MHJ for Nabers. So London and MHJ for Nabers. Maybe he wins in the end. Look, this is a trade where I don't see how you could say no to this if you needed the wide receiver, MHJ in your lineup. You know what I mean? Like if you're talking about having a very vacant wide receiver 3 or flex spot and you get to plug MHJ into that spot and you get London on top of that, I'm fine with this trade. I'm fine with this trade for Nabers. These are two monster pieces. Do I think I can make an argument for the other side? Sure. But it would depend on who you'd have going in your lineup instead of MHJ. So if you told me, well, this puts Debo on the bench, then this year I could see this being a trade that may or may not, it could still work out for you, but it may be one of those trades where you still need to make one more move to make me really love it. But if MHJ, and I don't know if Salty, you could tell me who he's replacing, but if you're like taking out a, I don't know, I'm trying to think of even a wide receiver that makes a lot of sense for this. A Pittman Jr. or something like that. Like you were crushing it. You were crushing it. So give me the London MHJ side in a scenario where MHJ is significantly helping you. And thank you for the $20 hauler. You're an absolute monster. We've got this one right here. $10 hauler. $10 hauler gets a Mars shot. Appreciate you very much, Jim.
2 Mars.
He puts a Dunze on the bench. That I'm okay with, but you could also potentially make another trade. And then if you trade a Dunze or trade a Dunze and MHJ, and let's say you get a BTJ or something. Now all of a sudden you got BTJ in London for that, and I like that. So don't keep an open mind of how to continue to springboard off of that trade. So that you don't just, a Dunze on the bench is fine too, because if you have injuries, bye weeks, there's nothing wrong with having depth. But I'm just saying, I think, a Dunze could have a really good year. So Nabers, a Dunze versus MHJ in London. You know what I think in the worst case scenario, Salty, is that's a wash. If, let's say a Dunze, let's say a Dunze plays really well and Nabers stays healthy all year, a Dunze and Nabers could still be a wash to MHJ in London. So I think you did good. Just keep your eyes peeled for more trades. Jim, what's good, Smitty? How did I do in my 10-team league draft? Had number 7, Genty, Lamb. Jeez, I'm assuming you drafted Lamb first, but Genty, Lamb. It's a 10-man league. Granted, everybody's teams look good, but this is a particularly good team that you drafted. Genty, Lamb, London, Hampton, Higgins, Kittle, Harvey, Nix, Diggs, Downs, Skattebo, Ray Davis, Tillman. Love it. Arroyo, love it. That's a fantastic squad, bro. Maybe consider getting Jaden Blue instead of like a Tillman if Blue's out there. Maybe consider one of those Mars men instead of Tillman. I don't really think Tillman is necessarily needed for that squad. And I think because the waiver wire is so rich in wide receivers, I could even drop Tillman and replace him with an RB. Bigsby, for example, instead of holding that extra wide receiver, because I bet you the wide receivers, I bet you Thornton's on waivers. I bet you there's tons of players. You could even grab like a Tesla in a buying later on if you need it when he's getting going or something. So I'd rather hold that extra RB. Very, very good squad. Very, very good squad. Spears is really nice as well. Very, very solid state of affairs that you're bringing to the table there, my boy. That's a great team. And that's one of those teams where you look at it and you're like, okay, that actually still is super good in a 10-man league. BBM Best Ball Mania. Again, if anybody wants to draft in a Best Ball Mania, and there's a $2 million prize, $25 to enter. It's only a $10 minimum to sign up, though. Use my link that's pinned in the live chat. Use code Smitty. The link's in the description of the video as well. And I'll drop the link one more time for you in case it's not pinned in the live chat for you for some strange reason. But there's the link. We'll be drafting tonight. We draft at midnight Eastern almost every single night. Thank you for that $10 holler, which also
To Mars.
sends you to Mars. Pick 8. Penix, Nix, like the quarterbacks, Crafty, my style. Genty, Hampton, Harvey, my style running backs, love it. London, Tet, Hunter, Egbuka, Burden, Thornton, good team. Good team. Tet looks good right now. Tet's good value right now. I hope that doesn't change because I like Tet in 5.6. I don't like Tet in 3. You know, and the catch he made today, which was a really nice catch, it's kind of, you know, going all over, grabbed a nice ball. If that keeps him at 5, I'm fine with it. Ted and 5 is a great value. You know, Ted and Hunter should be going, and both should be going in the 5th round in non-best ball. Neither one should be in the 3-4 turn. In best ball, Ted's climbing sometimes to the 3-4 turn, and it's just too high. But this value is good. You got Hunter, you got Ted, and you got Egbuka with London. I like this team. I feel like maybe you reached on a couple players, but still looks really good. And it's not that it can't win. It certainly can win. You just need a couple things to play out. Harvey needs the ball right away. Hampton needs to be the guy, which we think he is right now. Hunter and Ted both need to do well, you know, or Egbuka and Hunter, or Egbuka and Ted need to explode. But those things can happen. I like the squad a lot. You did draft, I believe you probably reached on like 3 or 4 guys, one after the other, but that's fine. I like it. It looks good. Try this in a couple different variants, though, by not reaching fully on everybody and getting a lot of these same guys, but mixing it up a little bit and grabbing some of the value on the board that might still be available. Did a 16-man league. These are hard. It's not a 14-man. This is a 16-man. Keep that in mind when we read it out. 2-spot. Caleb Williams, Purdy. I assume, is it a 2 QB 16-man? Hopefully not. Okay. Caleb, Purdy, Bijan, Pacheco, AJ Brown, Travis Hunter, Egbuka. Very good team. In a 16-man league, this is really tough, bro. Bijan's a 1st rounder. AJ Brown's a 2nd rounder. Travis Hunter's in a 16-man league. He's easily a 3rd rounder. Egbuka's easily a 5th. Like this is you did a fantastic job. I like that team quite a bit. That is an unbelievable squad. All right, I got someone on the phone line. Donald, you're live. What can I do for you?
Smitty, it's BBQ.
BBQ, my boy. What is up?
What's up, brother? How are you doing, man?
Good. When's the last time you called?
I've never called.
You've never called. I wondered that the other day. I'm like, do I just not remember that BBQ has never called? First of all, BBQ, appreciate you.
Absolutely, man.
We appreciate everything you do. I mean, all the super chats, all the gifted memberships. It's our honor to speak to you tonight. The honor is all on this side of the table. What can I do for you, BBQ?
Love the community, man. This is the place to be. Absolutely love this place.
Like a celebrity on the phone, according to the chat. Look at this. What can I do for you tonight?
Hey, so I want to talk about the Redskins, the Commanders. I would absolutely not be paying Terry McLaurin that kind of money, guaranteed or not. And the reason why is his stats over his career are basically the same. The only difference is last year with JD5, you know, he scored like 13 touchdowns. So JD5 made him better. And my thing is, you want to show some loyalty and stick around, you know, and sign for a, hometown thing. I know he wants to get paid, but you just look at his stats. Nothing's changed. His yardage, his receptions, even with bad quarterbacks. So my thing is, like, you can't put that kind of money out there with an aging player who just wants to get paid.
Well, what I've said from the beginning, I believe is true. Adam Peters doesn't really make big mistakes. He's learning. He's still a young GM, but he's such a smart man, and he's so good at scouting. He loves draft picks. He's so good at using them. He's very careful with trades. He knew not to go get Ayuk, and the first thing I said when he shot that down was he knows why. This is a guy that lived in San Francisco as the assistant GM. and helped bring Ayuk in, helped bring in Kittle, identified Kittle, Debo, all these players. Adam Peters had a heavy hand, if not a full hand, in drafting and identifying. And when he said, I don't want Ayuk, he knew better, and we needed to trust him. Drafting JD5, Ben Sinnott, now Jalen Lane's looking good, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt. There's a lot of talent here. And I can almost guarantee you that this is more on the side of McLaurin and his agent, as I've said for like weeks now, than it is the team screwing this up. And I know that the narrative is that the team needs to pay him, they need to bring him in, and that's fan bases. Fan bases are like, give him his money, bring him in, and then they get mad at the team when they overpay on somebody's trash bag or a barrel of trash 2 years later, and they're like, we committed all this money to him, and then it's like, bro, you were one of the people screaming to pay him. But you're right, he's 30 years old. Sutton is a little bit younger than him. And Sutton just set the tone in the market at 23 mil. And my guess is that, like I said, two things can happen. And it's 41 million guaranteed, which is the real important number. Two things are going to happen. McLaurin's either going to not adjust to that, and the Commanders do, and say, well, we're definitely not meeting you in the middle. And McLaurin doesn't change, and he's like, then there's a stalemate. Because it's like right before this deal, if Sutton had signed, let's say, $27 million, and let's say the guaranteed money was $58, then I think we'd have the Commanders, if they were offering $55, they would, okay, we got to do the wiggling. The Commanders were just handed a note that said, don't overpay Terry McLaurin. Love, Denver. And now the Commanders are just going to be like, I bet their offer was better, and they're going to say, we're offering you more than Sutton's getting. And that might make things either get better real quick because McLaurin's scared and his agent says, take it. Because his agent gets paid. His agent might be like, look, this could go the reverse way for us. Take the deal. Or, and we probably would hear by midnight tonight, if that were the case, is my guess. Or McLaurin and his agent are like, we want what we want. And then the Commanders are like, well, the tone's just been set. We're not budging now. And then that's when the animosity gets created, and then the trade request happens. But BBQ and I both know, I can already tell this is the way he thinks, that if he does go test the trade market, it's going to feel like getting kicked in the sack. Because he's going to walk out there and go, who wants to pay me $35 million and guarantee me $60 million, and no one's going to raise their hand? I mean, could there be? The Browns could. What other organization would? I don't know. But all it takes is one dancing partner. But for the most part, I don't think the Commanders would be scared to send him out and see what his value is. The only problem with that, though, is there's little time left. So it's kind of like the Commanders may get pushed into a corner where they say, we're gonna call his bluff and he'll show up. He'll have some injury risk because he's 30 years old and he's holding in, which is like holding out. Your body's not going to be as prepared as it could be. You're also 30 years old. But we're better off with McLaurin in that state than we are a second rounder even. So they're either going to call his bluff and then play it out, or they say to themselves, let's go get Keenan Allen right now, and let's get a second rounder, and let's get to work. We don't know what direction they're going to go. I imagine they're going to call his bluff for a little bit longer. And if he does request a trade, that might be the nail in the coffin, just because then what kind of time do you have left? I don't know. Hard to say. They want to win a Super Bowl, and if it's not with Terry, they'll do a next man up, go get Keenan Allen, or maybe Jalen Lane's ready for the prime time. Who knows?
Yeah, I think you're right on that front. I think the front office knows what they're doing. I think they're looking at this and they say, we know what we have in the building. We'll line up in 12 personnel and put Ben Sinnott out there, use him as a inseam tight end. JD5 elevated the play of that entire team. I mean, the guy played lights out. He made bad good and good great. And so I look at this and I say, you know what? You take a receiver like Nabers. Anybody could throw to him, and that guy's going to elevate them. McLaurin hasn't elevated any quarterback in his career. He's good. He's a really good receiver. But JD5 made him that. And that's why I'm like, look, you got to do like a hometown friendly deal. You'll make your money another way, but they probably have a number that's, say, like $27 million, and they're like, we're not going above that. So, yeah, let him walk. Let him go find a dance partner and he'll come back to reality.
I almost guaranteed their offer is better than this one. And if it is, McLaurin should be taking it. But I just don't know how he's going to, him and his agent might be reacting to this, because I think, like I said, it could go two different ways. It could make the team be like, whoa, we're definitely not budging now. We're about to come to the table and say, screw it, let's get it done. We'll move closer to your offer or your number. But now the Commanders are going to step back, and will McLaurin and his agent be smart? This is a 30-year-old wide receiver. The season kicks off. He's 30 years old when the season kicks off, or right when the season kicks off. He's 30 years old. I don't know what in the world he's expecting to get. I know he's bitter about not having a quarterback for his entire career, but that's not the Commanders' fault. That's not JD5's fault. It's no one's fault. But he does not deserve to get a long-term, guaranteed amount of money at 30 years old. Cooper Kupp was 30. He fell off the face of the earth. You know, and I'm not saying every receiver does, but you have almost no shot at being an elite wide receiver at 32. You have a very small shot at being an elite wide receiver at 31. Very small. It's possible, but very small. Adams concerns us at 32. That's for sure. He is kind of a unicorn. Mike Evans, kind of a unicorn. They're not players you'll ever want to use and make an example of, or say that they're the new exception to the, or they're the exception to the rule, but they're not even the exception to the rule. They're an anomaly. And so it's 31. So if you assume this is his 38th season that he's playing here for the Commanders, or it is going to be, then that's his final year. This is his final elite year. This right here, you're plugging your nose, holding your breath that he can deliver it again, but he probably will not be able to. Even if it's through injury, that's part of why 31-year-old wide receivers that are playing at a high level can't play at a high level anymore because they get hurt. 31 is a concern. 30, he could do it. And that's why you give him, you could give him $40 million a year. I could care less, but the guarantee needs to be around 50. So if it's a very team friendly I'm not saying they're going to pay him 40. I'm just trying to make a point that even if you were, they're not going to pay him 40, but even if you were, it doesn't matter. The yearly part doesn't matter. The guarantee part. You could pay him, what's the $41 million guarantee for Sutton? You could pay Terry McLaurin $41 million a year if you wanted and guarantee only one exact year, and it's the same thing. The only thing that the reason the team wouldn't do that is they want to make it team friendly so that if he does blow up, they're paying him $27 million a year, and they feel comfortable paying that for 2 years before they cut ties with them. Versus if it was really 41 a year, that next year they're not going to keep him. So of course they don't want to structure it that way. I'm just merely saying that at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. It's about this $41 million number, and I believe that McLaurin's, I would guess, is at least 45, and he hasn't been happy with that. He should be happy with that. Sutton and McLaurin had nearly identical seasons. The only difference was the touchdowns, as BBQ alluded to. Here was the two seasons side by side. The only difference is 81 and 80 receptions. It was 13.4 and 13.3 yards per catch. It was 8 touchdowns versus 13. It was 1096 versus 1081. Nearly identical. They're close in age. They're both the number one wide receivers for their team. You expect the same amount of money, especially coming off the Chris Godwin contract, which did nobody any favors, by the way, in terms of these players fighting for this money. But this is what we're dealing with. I'm sorry. Go ahead, BBQ.
Oh, I was going to say, I look at his numbers and I look at what he's paying. I think he's making $23 million a year right now. And I say to myself, look, you were playing for that contract. Do something that incentivizes or, adds incentives that, hey, if we make the playoffs, we make the Super Bowl, make that a friendly number. So what you have on there is, that's a fair number. And trying to get above that, I look at it and I think to myself, you were playing for that money before and you had no problem with it. But now that some other people have signed contracts, now you want to renegotiate on the fly. And as you say, he's like 30 years old. He's acting like he's 24. He's not.
As a team, as Adam Peters, the decision maker here, you have to assume he gives you 1 year. That's all you can expect at 30 years old. 1 year. And if anybody thinks, oh, he's a young man, you don't know what we're talking about. This is football. This is not, hey, are you an old man at 30? I'd love to be 30. But that's not what we're talking about. This is dog years. 30 years old is an old man. 30 years old in football years is your last year as a wide receiver. 29 is the hold your breath season now for an RB. It was kind of 28. The pandemic is also going to throw a wrench in this because we have a lot of older players that emerged and are still emerging. Like these quarterbacks are older, Knicks and all these guys. And so you have a potential, we have a potential 29 age year for running backs anyway. Like, look at Skattebo. We're still seeing the impact of this pandemic back in 2020, where these players are coming out instead of 4 years, they're coming out 5 years. And you have Harvey's 24 years old, Skattebo's older, Shook is old enough to be my grandfather. Like these players are so old compared to the years prior because of a lot of it, the pandemic. But 29 is the drop off for RB. That is, you can do it though. You can hold your breath and get through that year, but it's not easy. And 30 is that year for wide receivers, and they can do it.
Puka would be retired by now.
Yeah, Puka will retire at the age that McLaurin is. He's already made that abundantly clear. But yeah, you can't. I don't know what he's expecting. Hopefully, he comes to his senses and his agent is like, look, I benefit from this deal, so I'm going to shoot you straight. We must take this deal because the Sutton deal put us in a bad spot to where the Commanders could come back to us and say, we don't like the current offer that we've been offering you. We would like to rescind it. And we'd like to get a lot more money back and give you less. So we'll see what happens. But the thing I'll tell you, again, this comes down to this for me. By the way, 50 gifted memberships by BBQ, who's on the phone line dropping 50 gifted memberships.
Give me $50, holla.
Doing two things at once. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So my prediction is that right now, anyway, the Commanders see it like this. I think the Commanders, again, are looking at it like McLaurin, Scary Terry with the injury risk that he's going to come with now if he holds in for a longer period of time. So Terry with the added injury risk is better than a second round pick. So you have this team saying to themselves, we don't want the draft capital. That does not help us win a Super Bowl. We're ready to win a Super Bowl right now. Right now. Terry, even keeping him in his disgruntled state, the increased injury risk by him holding in for as long as that lasts, we're willing to call Terry's bluff, even if it costs us a week or so, or 2 weeks, or even 3 weeks of time. This is better than this. This does not help us win a Super Bowl. A second rounder means nothing to us right now. There will be a tipping point. I don't know when that will be. And there will be a point where they're like, do we just bring Keenan Allen in anyway? I would, honestly. I would just bring him in. And that's on Terry, Scary Terry. Once Keenan Allen's in house too, the deal is even less important. So he's got to worry about that. I just don't understand. I know he's bitter. I know he's very, very upset. He seems like a good guy. I think he's just, he's clouded right now by, I didn't get what was mine. I was mistreated. I lived in, it's like Barkley. It's so much like Barkley. Barkley sat in New York, handcuffed to that horrible situation for years. And he almost wanted to go back. He told that horrible GM, Shinebox, he told him, I will give you first dibs to bring me back. I will tell you what the offer is. And he basically, Barkley on his word, spit in his hand and to shake with Shinebox, said that I will come back to you if you match the offer. Barkley almost ruined the rest of his career. And he sat there wasting away in New York, handcuffed, unable to be as good as he obviously is. And Terry's kind of in the same situation. He's been handcuffed, sitting there, and it's a shame. And I feel bad for him. But This is the best deal he's going to get, whatever he's being offered. And it's a lot of money. He's probably getting $45 million guaranteed. Just take it. You're 30 years old. Take it and let's play ball. And let's go win a Super Bowl. BBQ.
Yeah, spot on, man. That's exactly it. I mean, you win a Super Bowl, you have a chance to contend. That's what you want in your career. You're 30 years old. I want to play for a title, and I want to play with probably the best quarterback in the league this year.
And
I want to ride that trend all the way to the Super Bowl.
And why wait it out and end up getting, losing ground and not having a chance of what would be worse? Well, worse would not be not winning a Super Bowl, but how much would it suck to get injured, watch your team win a Super Bowl, and you weren't part of it, and you get this ring in the mail, and you're like putting it on.
Yeah, or you get
just go out. You're 30 years old. Take 50 million, 45 million guaranteed. Go get a ring. Don't take $45 million guaranteed. Get injured because you held out and watch your team win a Super Bowl and then put the ring on with regret every single day.
Yeah, go win a ring and do. You can make your money on soup commercials.
Yeah. Kevin talking about Thornton Jr. Yeah, Thornton Jr. making noise, looking good. He's another one. Reportedly a 65-yard bomb. He's a guy I've drafted in pretty much every single draft, I think, the last month and a half. So my exposure on Thornton Jr. on Underdog is increasing by the day. I probably have him in 60% of leagues. And he is a moon man extraordinaire right there. Arroyo was the newest added moon man, by the way.
Space Monsters.
I haven't added his name to the image yet, but Arroyo is the newest moon man. But Thornton is definitely a league winner. And thank you for the $5 hauler. But yeah, if anybody needs a wide receiver monster in best ball as your last pick, let's say you go 7 wide receivers, or in Dynasty, if Thornton's out there, he's arguably worth, I don't want to say full load drop, but if we get into the waiver wire show coming up here in, I think we're going to do a preemptive waiver wire show on August 1. So August 1, I'll drop another preemptive waiver wire show. But you've seen Thornton sit atop this board for, I think, 2 shows now. So this is the last preemptive waiver wire show. I haven't added a single name. The only thing I moved, and honestly, I'll move it back so I can say this with a straight face, is we moved Marks up to prove, or to show where he should be going. But Marks was down here. We've had Marks on this list. We've had Jalen Lane on this list. We've had Arroyo on this list. We've had Milrow and Milton and Sanders on this list in this exact order. We had Thornton. This was a month ago. And so you Tesla on this list, Royals on this list. Brashard Smith was at the top of the list. And look at him sitting there. Krosky, Merritt, Sampson, Keaton Mitchell. This is unbelievable. This is so... I pulled up waiver wire boards before, and it looks completely different. I'm like, oh, God, this looks bad. Things changed a lot. But this looks phenomenal for a month ago. And Thornton has been, a staple. Thornton is a monster, my boy, an absolute savage, a league winner. But make sure, you see if you have room on your full load drop in Dynasty is not out of the question. If Brashard Smith or Arroyo or even Thornton's out there, I don't want to say use your full load drop now, because what happens if you miss out on the next guy? But is there a chance Brashard Smith is the next, Bucky or Puka or Achan? It's possible. Is it possible that Thornton's the next big breakout wide receiver? It is. So I don't want to say don't use it. I had a $500, I think it was. Travis, you on the line?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. Okay. I forget what it was. Do you remember? I think it was a $500 or $200 or whatever. But I remember I even messaged Travis. I'm like, should I drop the full wattage on? Or no. Actually, we were talking about that on Krosky Merritt, I think. Yeah, I forget what.
Yeah, those cross.
I think I told you after the. Yeah, I think I told you after the fact on Thornton. But yeah, I dropped 100 or 200 out of 200 on Thornton, and not a single person bid. So I just blew the money. But I was worried because I'm talking him up so much, and this was a while ago. So I don't know. I mean, BBQ, what do you think of Thornton? Do you think if he was out there, How much would you spend right now out of $500 fab dollars on Thornton? What would be the amount that you would drop? And in the chat, tell me, out of $500, what would be the amount that you would drop? Go ahead, BBQ. Out of 500.
500. I mean, 25.
25? Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. 50 would be my top.
Okay. I appreciate your honesty. I
I'd
dropped.
go 50 to 100 depending on the league. Like, you got to know your league.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, exactly.
I think I went. I mean, I was talking them up, and it was a follower league that I had, and I was talking them up so much. I'm like, I got to drop a ton tonight because everyone's gonna go grab them. Yeah, I personally think that when we get to the waiver wire show, there is, week one, like coming out of week one. So this will be week 2. This will be coming out of week 1, the actual week 2, first real waiver wire show. If, let's say, he goes out and does something amazing, or Brashard Smith does something amazing, we might have a full load drop candidate coming out of week 1. It could be Arroyo, it could be Milrow or Milton if an injury happens. It could be Thornton. I don't think it'll be Lane yet. I don't think it'll be Tesla yet. Manor and Restrepo at some point could get into the mix because now you have Burks, waived by the team. Krosky, Merritt's rising, Sampson's rising, Brashard Smith. This isn't even updated. This is a month or so old. There's other names I haven't thrown on here yet. Woody Marks, who knows?
It'll be a tough call because you have to decide, do I want to save Fab for the season because things happen? But at the same time, you're probably, if it's after a week 1 or week 2 like that, you're going to have to spend more than you're comfortable with probably because everyone's, for now on, is chasing the next Puka.
Yeah.
Ever since Puka and Kyron happened in that same season, everybody chases that for him.
Yeah, the odds of
people definitely overspend.
The odds of the next Puka or Achan or Kyron, however Bucky, however you want to, we'll just call it the next Bucky and the next Puka because those are probably Achan's probably the biggest success story, I suppose. So the next Achan or Puka, the odds of them already being on this board right here, I'd say probably 30%. I think there's still somebody that we aren't kicking around right now that's not on this list that happens. I mean, look at Puka, look at Achan, look at Bucky. But I'd say 30%, which is a strong number. Whether it's Sampson, Krosky, Merritt. If I had to guess, my early take would be that it's Milton, Milrow, Arroyo, Thornton, Brashard Smith, or Sampson. Those would be my early guesses at the top candidates here. But even Taj Brooks is really good. Injury could open. The next, breakout player could be due to injury, like Taj Brooks, for example. Jalen Royals could be a monster. Who knows? But his situation is so crowded. Even when Rice comes back, it's not. But I still love him a lot. But Thornton has that upside for sure. Milton is the one I'm most excited about. The two I'm most excited about. No, the three. Each position. Smith right now. Thornton, of course. And it's not even close. The rest of the receivers I like. But Thornton, not even close. Brashard Smith for right now. And Milton. Even though I love Milrow near as much. I love Sanders a lot. Milton and then Arroyo. But Milton, I feel it with Milton. It's coming. I in my bones, I know he will be in there. I'm not saying he takes Dak's job necessarily. I'm just telling you he won't give it back. Whether it's through an injury or something, Milton is going to be exciting. The whole world is going to be watching, and the Cowboy fans are going to go ballistic when he gets in there and succeeds. And Milton is a force, a dominant force that no one can tend with. Dak has no chance once Milton's in there, in my opinion. Real quickly, let me just answer these two super chats, then I'll go back to BBQ, then over to Rock Out, and then I got another caller on hold. Check your DMs. Rock Out, I will. Remind me if I don't get to it in a second. Let me just get through everything here. How different are McLaurin and Sutton purely on a skill standpoint? They're different players. I would probably say touchdown expert, Sutton. I don't think McLaurin is a touchdown expert. I think BBQ nailed this. McLaurin is a very good touchdown getter if he gets the football fed to him right. Sutton will go get it. You know, you throw it up to him, he'll make it happen. McLaurin's going to get that needle threaded, and it'll be in the end zone, and it'll be a great route. But this is one of those things where Sutton can get it at the 5-yard line and push it in. 10-yard line, make it happen. And Sutton has 18 touchdowns over 2 seasons. You know, and McLaurin does have 17, but the majority of them came last year. And just with Debo in town, it's hard to imagine him topping it. I think he could still get 10 or 11 with Debo, or with Debo there, just because JD5 is so good. But Sutton is the touchdown jump ball specialist. McLaurin's more of that precision guy. I don't think you could say that McLaurin. I think McLaurin's a little bit better, but I don't know. Sutton's so underrated, and by me specifically, I admit that every year. I think they're pretty similar. I think they should get the same money. They're both older. They should get the same exact money. I'm not saying that Sutton gets screwed, so McLaurin shouldn't ask for more and say that's on him. I get it, and I kind of agree with that. I think 25 to 27 million a year, and I think 50 to 55 million guaranteed should be headed both their directions based on the market. I don't think anybody in the NFL deserves that money, actually, but that's the low wage of the NFL now. I think 50 million guaranteed is what McLaurin should be able to get. 41 million guaranteed, that's on Sutton. He should have got more. But it is what it is. He wanted to get to work.
It's interesting, though, because, like, it shows Sutton understands the situation, you know, where he has plenty of money. And I know, and I don't use that because I understand you got to go get what you can get while you can get it. But he wants to be on a team that's building to win with a young quarterback that likes throwing. You know, Terry McLaurin, you know, is leaving a lot up to chance by doing this, you know?
Yep.
Who knows where he could end up?
Yeah, and he says, shout out to BBQ. All right, BBQ, what else you got?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what Travis said. I mean, the thing about Sutton, he's so low-key. I mean, he runs great routes. He's got that wide catch radius. He makes himself available for his quarterback. And he's so underrated. He's such a safe play. You just check the box, draft him. You know what you're going to get. Maybe you get a blow up here and there, but he's easy wide receiver to throw to. The one I want to talk about is Nabers, because to me, it's like you could draft him and then you just kind of start watching the clock tick. And I think the thing about the Giants is their schedule is really tough. And I think that what they're going to do is their defense is really sneaky good. I think the defense is going to keep them a lot of games. They're going to feed Skattebo a lot. That guy's going to ball out. And I think they'll keep games close. Whether they can win them or not is one thing. But, yeah, if they get close to a losing season, they'll shut down Nabers. I don't see how you keep your talent on the field, you know, into the playoffs, in your championship playoffs. So I would draft him and then maybe try to flip him after, you know, he starts balling out, and, you know, have another guy you just plug in for the playoffs.
Yeah, but the other thing too, though, and this is what I was saying earlier, is like you could trade him by week 8. If you're going to draft him, I Smitty approve it. Just trade him by week 8. But you're carrying like a headache into the season, and you're going to be anxious about it. Like the question is going to be, is London going nuts so much so that you can't even really trade Nabers for London because someone will be worried about the toe? You know what I mean? So if he's popping off and London's popping off, you know, why not just take the guy that? So I'm still going to lean toward, I'm drafting London. I'm maybe even drafting BTJ. I don't know about that one yet. I'm still wavering. That still means I'm drafting Nabers. Like I'm drafting a lot of Nabers in best ball. I don't know that I draft him in a non-best ball right now over Genty, over London. I just would rather be safe with that pick, and I do not want my season to be tanked because the team is losing. There's no way this team's got a playoff shot come week 14. There's no chance. So they're and given that Nabers said this today to Kay Adams, that his toe injury is like a mosquito that don't want to go away, and when she said it, and he said a big mosquito, And she said, you just want to squash it. And he said, you can't. He's like, you can't kill it. So it's like, whoa, and he's like, I have a great plan. There's a great management plan. I'm using Russell Wilson's guy. First of all, using Russell Wilson's guy, I don't like hearing that ever. But Russell Wilson's guy to manage this toe injury, it's a problem. This is not going away. Nabers has said he needs surgery. So in the comment here, this toes injuries heal slowly. It's not an injury that can heal. That's the whole point. This is not a toe injury that time will heal it. He's already said that. That's why he's saying you can't squash it. You can't crush it. It is a surgery required situation. So there's no slowly healing it. He's made that abundantly clear through about 3 different comments now, to where we can say confidently he didn't word it wrong. Like, it can heal over time, or it's actually getting a lot better. And then we're like, wait a minute. No, he's clear about it. He's like, I have a management plan. A management plan? The management plan sounds like you're not going to play a full season. So it's not going to be popular for a while. I wouldn't even say that I'm not going to head toward don't take him at all near his ADP stage in the next couple weeks. I know it's going to be unpopular. I know people are going to come for my neck in week 2. And I'm not going to take a lap on it, because my stance is this is about the long-term season, not week 1 or week 4 or week 3. I'm making it abundantly clear. He could be wide receiver 1 through 2 months of football. And it doesn't change my evaluation or analysis here. He could be the number 1 wide receiver for 2 months of football. 2 months long. He could be the number 1 wide receiver. And it still doesn't make me go, yeah, I got this one wrong. We're worried about week 14, 15, 16, 17. That's when this is going to kick in. That's when it's going to be at its worst. And that's when the team is going to be literally bleeding out. And then they're going to make a decision. Johnny, I was just about to go to you, pal. I'm sorry about making you wait. Poor Johnny. He's been sitting there for like 5 hours. Johnny, call back and I'll throw you back on. Rockout also had a message he wanted me to play real quickly. Hold on. It's probably a new hit that Rockout made. He loves him. Rockout loves MHJ. Rockout, thank you very much. Could you guys hear that clearly? Sometimes my filter doesn't allow that stuff to play through. Did everybody hear that all right? Rockout, thank you. Travis, go ahead. You're live.
Yeah, so just on McLaurin, I missed a couple minutes at the beginning, so if you said it, stop me. A lot of people, and I get their fans and stuff, they owe him. He stuck it out with that team while they were a mess, and which is all true, and he deserves credit for that, and he deserves to get his money, that he deserves. But this is a different ownership. This ownership wasn't responsible for any of the crap going on. They don't owe anyone anything for that. I mean, sure, give him credit for it and, reward him with an appropriate contract. But people act like this ownership just needs to, clean up the whole, they've cleaned up the mess already. They're moving on. They're not going to look back and go, oh, well, because someone was irresponsible and drove this franchise into the ground, we're going to keep paying for that, And I think it's something, it's similar to where if a certain regime doesn't draft a guy, they may not be as tied to him. I think they understand how important he is to the team, but they're not going to go and do what the 49ers have done in the past, where they wait till the very end and then overspend and put their team in a hole.
Yeah.
I don't see them doing that.
Yeah.
It doesn't necessarily make sense either.
Let me play that.
85 is good enough to make receivers good.
Yeah. All right, Rockout, let me play with this mic.
MHJ is going to take it over. MHJ ready to score a touchdown. MHJ is ready to be a beast mode, reload, go and take it over.
Hey, can you guys hear that better? Hopefully.
I can hear it.
Okay, hopefully you can hear that better. I have to switch.
Melody.
Yeah, I have to switch the mics because I have a limiter on this, so that when I scream and yell, it doesn't blow everyone's eardrums out. So I got to switch mics to one that doesn't have a limiter and filter on it. Because I got complaints for a long time about how I'd be, yelling and people would have to turn the volume down and everything. So now I have a limiter. So when I yell like this, maybe on the phone line you guys can hear it, but it'll redline it and okay. Call back in, Johnny. Was it Johnny? Call back in if you want, bro. Okay, Nabers. Where's a comfortable place to draft Nabers? I wonder if the boss horn would be okay now. Yes, that's a good point, Matt. I wonder what the new limiter. The limiter wasn't here when the boss horn. Maybe the boss horn would be okay to bring back. You know what? I had my hearing ringing about. It was like 6 months later too, maybe 5 months later. I started to get some high pitched like ringing in my ear, and I had a buddy that got tinnitus, and he just has a. It sounds horrible to have tinnitus, and he was telling me don't use that boss horn. Like you're in a close proximity, even if you put earplugs in, whatever. And so the fact that I was getting ringing like 6 months later, it went away. But I just thought to myself, I can't imagine for a damn horn for giggles and laughs, like having tinnitus and not being able to hear down the road. So maybe not inside here. I'll put it in my backpack. I'll put some ear plugs in, and we'll ride on the electric moped, and maybe with the remote control, I can press it when we drive by people or something. We'll figure it out. Thank you, Team Snap, for the $2 hauler. I don't see a message attached to it. Appreciate the super chat. Guys, make sure you include your message in there, because by the time you do actually type something, it might not be anywhere near where you super chatted and I can't find it. But please, if you have a question, let me know and I'll look for it. Okay, let me go around the room real quick. Oh, Bruce. Let me go to Bruce real quick, and then I'll go around the room and ask everybody where they would take Nabers. And I'll start with Bruce. Bruce, give me your question, but I also want you to tell me what's the earliest you will draft Nabers. And something tells me Bruce is going to say something wild. But go ahead, Bruce. You're live.
The earliest I would take Nabers is like the first, second round swap.
The
what,
1.2? 1.2?
Yeah, if it's
1.10.
10, 11, if it's a 12 team, 12, 13.
Okay. So 1.11 to 1.12. That's a vote for Bruce. Okay. And real quick, without any elaboration, so I can go back to Bruce and not make him wait. BBQ, where's the earliest you draft him?
1.10, unless he keeps talking about his toe, and then I can pick him up years later.
Okay. Travis, the latest you draft Nabers?
Around the turn.
Okay.
Also that.
And then I'm gonna say it's so easy to talk a big game, and then when you're on the clock, you see Nabers there, and you're like, but I think I'm taking Genty over him for sure. I'm still on the fence about. I probably take. The problem is I want to take London over him every time right now, and London doesn't go in round one, so you're almost guaranteed to get London instead of Nabers every time. You're almost guaranteed that you can do that. But I think just for argument's sake, I think 1.11 feels like the right spot. 1. And the reason I say 1.11 is because I'm still trying to put him away from the turn picks. But I still want to give him his first round respect. But this could very easily be somebody that I rank there, but I find myself having a tough time pulling the trigger. But again, in the coming weeks, don't be surprised if my attitude changes a lot and I start telling you it's just not worth the risk. It's not worth the risk. BTJ finished number 4, Nabers finished number 7. And you could say, well, hey, that's because of this situation. Well, his situation hasn't changed any. BTJ's situation, you could say, maybe got more crowded, but his offense got 5 times better. So maybe BTJ's even better. But how are we going to sit here and call London or BTJ a more reckless pick over Nabers when BTJ finished as the number 4 wide receiver last year and bested him anyway. So I think in about a week's time, you'll hear me talking about it's too dangerous to take him. I really feel like that's where I'm headed with this. Go ahead, Bruce. You're live.
I got a question. If I know my league, they're running back heavy. My question is, what if I went receiver instead of doing like everyone's going to scorch on all these running backs? What if you go receiver and you do the polar opposite? Is that a bad thing to do?
No, it comes down to best player available. Viral, I'm not ghosting your super chats. I'm trying to get to everything at one time. I got them all right here. I'm answering these next. I think it just depends on best player available. Bruce, you ask me this all the time, and I give you the same answer. It's you somehow you keep coming back to me, and you want to draft positions. I don't want you drafting positions. I want you drafting players. You know, I can't tell you to go wide receiver. I can't tell you to go running back. I do feel like in 10-man leagues, and it seems like you play in a lot of 10-man leagues, I do lean running back, if I had to tell you one, more because the wide receivers will be definitely available for you. Whereas in a 12-man, it's a little harder, especially from like that turn pick or whatever. But I'm going Genty and Bijan, Genty and Achane, Bucky and Achane in a 10-man league all day long. And then I'm going to get Rice and MHJ or Garrett Wilson and Rice and Travis Hunter. I'm gonna clean up at wide receiver, and I can't do that if I go wide receiver as much at RB. I still like it, you know. Like if you had like a Hampton, a Hendy, and a Kyron, and then you had 2 wide receivers at the top, I still like that a lot. But I think you can really smash those wide receivers. You know, there's no right or wrong way, Bruce. I could win both ways. I could win with Kyron, Hampton, and Harvey, or Kyron, Hampton, Hendy as my running backs, and have Lamb in London. I could easily win with that team. But I do find that I want the running backs in a 10-man a little more, if that answers your question. But you just can't, you know.
Yeah, it answers it because it's kind of like, well, I'll put it into perspective. Last year, the guy in this league, he ended up getting, not that I think he'll get this year, but last year he got Chase and Lamb in this penny. And that was his first 2 picks was Chase and Lamb. You know, I didn't get a chance to get Lamb. I took Barkley in the first round, and then he picked before me in the second round. And that's kind of why I kind of got confused. I'm like, well, maybe if I do this.
I got you. Bruce picked the best player available. I mean, that's all I can tell you. Every time. But know your league. Running back can be the best player available. Best player available is sometimes off of the projecting of where the players are going to fall. Like that's all encompassing. It's not just, hey, who is the highest ranked player or who's going to score the most amount of points. That's not best player available. Best player available is who is the best value, the most upside, the lowest risk, the best combination of this and that. And oftentimes it's Bucky. He could be a top 5 running back. It's Achane. He could be a top 5 running back. You know, if you drafted a BTJ and an Achane, I'm fine with that too. There's nothing wrong with balance. If anything, balance is the key to not handcuffing yourself to a situation you don't want to be in round 3 and 4. Far too many people go running back, and then they feel like they have to draft wide receiver. They have to draft wide receiver in the 3rd and 4th round. But what if it's not the best player available in the 3rd and 4th round? Then you're screwed. So, you know, it's nice to have balance. You know, consider balance. Balance is definitely like one of my favorite approaches, period, is Lamb in round 1. And then I can do whatever the hell I want at the 2-3 turn without any reservation at all. Lamb, Bucky, Kyron, that's some of my favorite drafting on Underdog, which we'll draft tonight. Underdog promo code Smitty. Link is in the live chat. I'll drop it one more time. They'll match your first deposit 50% all the way up to $1,000. Please join now so you're not scrambling to get in later. It's a $10 minimum. But my favorite drafts really are Lamb or Chase, or it was JJ until JJ's hamstring, and now I'm worried about that. But Lamb and Bucky Kyron, or Lamb and, I mean, you can't really get Achane. I've done it though. It's rare. But Lamb, Achane, Kyron has been crazy. Lamb, Bucky, and even, you know, a Breece Hall is awesome there. You know, Garrett Wilson in 3, and then Bucky and Bijan. I love that one too, though. I mean, that one's fantastic.
Okay.
All right, let me get these. Yeah. Oh, let me go to Johnny. I promised him I'd go right to him, and he's been sitting for about another hour. Johnny, I'm sorry, bro. You're live.
You're a busy man, Smitty, and you the man, BBQ. So I was thinking Smitty logic. What you would put on other players, Smitty logic would say, he's injured, he's got an injury, it's a nagging injury, it's going to come back, it's not if, it's when. It's most likely going to bother him. Just don't draft him. Like, where would I draft him? Personally, I would. That's my take on that.
In a week from now, I think I'm going to be trending toward at cost, not in general. Like if he dropped, you know, I wouldn't take him if he dropped an ADP, but I have a feeling that at cost in about a week's time or less, I will be telling you not to draft Nabers. You know, when I tell you I have that feeling I'm going toward a direction, and I'm almost 99% positive that there's a, you know, I get that vibe that I'm going to be creating content on this. I almost know that I will be more anti-Nabers than pro-Nabers at his cost of entry within a week's time. It might be tonight, tomorrow I create a live stream on it. I'm just like you. I'm not comfortable banking on a player that it's, as you just said, not if, it's when. And he told Kay Adams that. He's told many people that. He needs surgery. And anybody that's continuing to say he'll be fine, like we've seen some comments like, yeah, he's young, he'll be okay. You're oblivious. And Perry, let's see what I'm wrong on. Let me read this. Smitty, you're dead wrong on this. You need to watch a little bit more of the Giants camp. I don't think you understand what I'm saying, Perry. I don't think you've listened to a word I've said. You're more than welcome to call in. The phone line here, I'll give you the number.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Feel free. I'll tell you exactly what you have not been hearing from me. Because didn't I just tell you he could ball out of week 1? Perry's the kind of guy that would come in here after week 1 if he has 110 and a touchdown and be like, told you, how you feel now? And you know what I'm going to say, Perry? Give me a coffee. That's exactly what I said he'd do. Week 1, he's going to go crazy. Week 2, he's going to go crazy. Week 3, he's going to go crazy. Perry, would you like me to continue? Viral says, how would you rank these? Hold on one second, Johnny. How would you rank these players at the 1-2 turn? Nabers, Amon-Ra, BT, London, Bucky. Right now, in a day or two from now, this could change. In a day or two from now, I would probably say it could change. But right now, I'm going to say London, BTJ kind of tied. In a vacuum, not that I would draft this, I would trade down for it, I'd maneuver around it, but I'd say Bucky next, Nabers, Amon-Ra. And Amon-Ra might climb above Nabers eventually. Right now I'm not, because he's got his own regression, and Goff and Ben Johnson leaving, 2/5 of the offensive lines, you know, replaced. There's a lot of concerns there too. So I would say J-Mo stepping up. There's a lot of Laporta being healthy. There's a lot of regression possibilities for London, or for Amon-Ra. And he's kind of an aggressive player to his body. He's always kind of injured, plays through it. But I would say right now, in a vacuum, Bucky over Malik, and in a vacuum, BT and London over Malik, doesn't mean I'm not making a maneuver like a trade down to not, you know, not make that not make sense. And then this one right here, 2nd round pick between Bucky, Irving, Kyron Williams, or Chase Brown. Bucky, He's a whole round ahead of both Kyren and Chase Brown, so this isn't even close, and it's a deserving ADP difference. It's not one of those things where in a vacuum, I like Bucky more. I'm going to say Kyren and then Chase Brown, but that one I flip on. I'm going to be honest with you. Right now, I'm leaning toward Kyren. With Stafford's back, that could definitely change, and because of Stafford not being ready Monday and them saying the goal is week 1, I would say Chase Brown has just caught up to him, and they're neck and neck, and I'm just slightly leaning Kyren still, but in another day or two, or just simmering on it for a while, I could easily see myself flipping it and going Chase Brown, but they're neck and neck because of Stafford. But if Stafford ends up being fine, let's say next Friday, or there's clarifying news on it, like the thing that I want to get the footage, I haven't found it. If anybody can, Travis, I don't know if you could find, and you don't have to look for it now if you don't want to, or ever. You don't have to do anything. Travis, can you try and find the video footage of McVay talking about Stafford? Because I want to know if he's saying it like this. Hey, we were going to have Stafford play on Monday, practice on Monday, but we're going to hold him back just to keep him extra safe, because the goal is week 1, not next week. Like if he's saying it like that, like the objective is week 1 as a team, we don't care about Tuesday. That's a totally different tone than our goal is to have him back by week 1, and we're all freaking out about that verbiage when his tone was essentially just trying to tell you. And part of me wonders if that's the way he said it, and everybody's writing about it as if it's panic time. And he might have just been like, if the goal was to win the preseason game, we'd try and rush him back. But since the goal is the season, not the preseason, we don't care. Like, if that's his tone, then I could care less, and I'm not that concerned about Stafford. So we'll find out more on that.
I got something. I'll send it to you.
Okay, thank you. I have Nico Collins all ready for 12-man, 20-team Eliminator League. I have Nico Collins. Okay. Yeah, I would probably lean Bucky, bro. I love Bucky. Bucky's a top 5 running back. Yo, Smitty, I think you missed my super. No, I got it. Appreciate you. Viral, sorry about the delay on that. I got 2 more, and then I'll catch up with the phone line here. Big Profit said Nabers or St. Brown in a 26 mid-first in Dynasty. Nabers or St. Brown. Give me Nabers in Dynasty. Not worried about Nabers at all in Dynasty. Nabers is the next Jamar Chase. This is just, and you could say, well, if he has surgery, what about next year? I believe he'll be fine. And that the comments about he's young, that's when that would kick in, like his recovery from a surgery. He'll be fine after the surgery, but he does need the surgery. Trade offer, Joe Milton for Keaton Mitchell. Rather have Joe Milton, to be honest with you. If it's a 1 QB, I imagine this is a super flex. So super flex, I'd rather have Joe Milton. If it's a 1 QB, and I could see not even rostering Milton and just monitoring him, but I imagine that's a super flex, and I'm taking Joe Milton all day. All right, let me roll over to the phone line again. Johnny, did you have anything else before I go back to BBQ?
Yeah, I wanted to bring up. So I heard so much hype on Jack Besh, and then all of a sudden there was like no more hype on Jack Besh. It was all Thornton, and I was like, damn, because I had went in on Besh on quite a few teams on my best ball, and so now I'm swapping them, but. He must have really just impressed in camp, huh? To get that. We don't hear anything about Besh now, and everything's all Thornton.
Yeah, well, we're hearing a little bit about Besh. He's kind of rising up again. There's some good news today, and he's looked good. But they both have a shot, and I think that you might see it swing back in a bit. It wouldn't shock me at all if it did. So kind of be on alert for that. Don't be too surprised if we start hearing we like Besh more. Besh has got a better shot, Travis, what is it that you saw in Besh?
I like what Thornton was saying about him today. He was just saying how he's a dog and he'll run through anyone's face, which is kind of we knew that about him, but just to hear confirmation of that from a player on the field is that's promising. I don't know what you think of it.
Yeah. Go ahead, BBQ. What else you got?
Yeah, I just want to say I love the community, love the show, and I look forward to the payout here on you getting healthy. And I want to encourage the rest of the crew on your challenge to take it up, whether it's today or tomorrow. Just get started now. Let's do this together.
Attaboy. Appreciate you, bro. You can hang out. You can hang out, or you getting off the phone line. You can hang out, whatever you want.
No, man, I'm here.
Okay. Let me play this real quickly. I don't know. Let me see what McVay says here.
That's the wrong one. Don't play that.
That's the wrong one. Okay.
Yeah.
Try and find out if the tone of him saying, because I just have a feeling, I know McVay and the way he talks sometimes, and I could see him just saying something like, the objective is, the regular season. So why would we risk it right now? We had no problem holding him out for a week right now. I think if that's the tone, I think that there's some buy low Kyren opportunity, for that amount of time. Love Kyren Williams still. He definitely, everybody takes a big shot and a big down value if, let's say, Stafford missed time, because Puka would vanish. And Adams would definitely be less valuable, but Jimmy Garoppolo is trash. And so, but Kyren would just be, he'd face more 8-man fronts. His 5 yards per carry that he'll probably have this year would go down to 4.1 again, or 5. It could be 3.9. And this wouldn't be his fault. And everybody'd be like, he's so inefficient. He's not explosive. But it'd be 8-man front after 8-man front. That's all he'd be facing. He'll average 5 yards per carry this year with Adams and Puka and Stafford all full go. So that's what you're going to see out of Kyren. Can't wait. Hopefully Stafford's okay. I have a feeling he'll be fine. Stafford's a dog. And I know we all have the tendency to be like, worst case scenario, expecting the worst, and now I'm avoiding this guy or that guy. But it's a sore back. It's not a specific injury like, oh, he, cracked his back, or he's got some sort of, or even a not even a back issue. It's like he has a hamstring injury that is, in just not going to go away. And it's like the JJ hamstring injury worries me more for JJ than the back injury worries me for Stafford. And Stafford's older and more injury prone. You know what I'm saying? And Stafford's such a dog. He'll, like, even if he pulled his back, he'd still be out there. He'd miss a couple weeks. He'd go out there. That guy is such a dog. Such a dog. All right. I forget who else is on the phone line. If anybody wants to dial in, here's the phone number.
Call into the show. Call into the show.
Yeah, go ahead.
So Garoppolo, we've seen him suck quite a bit, but he was actually really good on the Patriots for like that one rookie season or whatever. Do you think the Rams are good enough to where maybe he could have some flashes and do pretty decent?
I think the Rams offense is enough that he'll be better than he would be on any other team. But I mean, this is a quarterback that I mean, Adams ripped his helmet off, threw it into the ground, and was like, get him off the field. Like, I don't know. Let me merge this call real quick. I just don't think it's going to be anywhere the same. But I mean, you make a good point. He will look better in LA than he looked anywhere else. That's for sure. But he's not going to be able to feed this off. Maybe he keeps the defense enough at bay that Kyren doesn't face as many 8-man fronts as we fear he will. But he's certainly not going to be able to come close to replicating the numbers that are needed to get Puka and Adams even close to where they were. That's the problem for Jimmy. If you want to say maybe McVay's system is so good that Jimmy kind of Garrett Wilson's or Dak Wilson's this thing, where it's like he stays in there, they still move the ball, and then they lose games. Yeah, I think he could do that, and that could be enough for Kyren, but I don't know. Kyren still goes down a significant amount of value. Everybody does. If Stafford's out, this thing is... I mean, I think the only thing... I don't even know who could be a midseason trade prospect. You want to say if, like, let's say something happened with Dak, and then Milton went in, that all of a sudden they could, but Dak's dead cap is like $180 million. There's no way you can trade him this offseason. I think it goes down to like 120 the next year, and it's almost still an untradeable contract. But There's nobody. I don't know what the Rams would do. They probably just pack it in, if they lost Stafford. But again, I don't want to get too ahead of ourselves because Stafford just has a sore back, So I think that even talking about it is kind of fueling the fear that's really not there. Stafford doesn't have some sort of Achilles injury or some sort of, it's literally just a sore back. And he's had a lot of back issues, so sore back makes sense. He's older. I'm not worried about it. Right now, I'm not worried about it.
There's 31 stupid teams for not grabbing Shador in the 4th round or before.
32.
So dumb.
32. 32.
One team did grab him.
But they're still stupid because they waited until they became the second quarterback option.
Yeah,
and they're debating Gabriel over him because of draft capital. So the Browns are almost just as stupid. It really was. Everyone said, "Oh, it's smart. They got him cheaper." That's not the way you want to get your You don't want to, by design, make your quarterback a vulnerable, cost of entry. You want to have him valuable enough that, as a coach, you can convince the front office that you want to keep going down this road should he struggle, or you have security in that player to where you have commitment yourself on both sides, and you make someone as cheap as possible. You are eliminating that commitment level. It is the Browns were almost just as stupid, and the Browns tried not to draft him because you would not draft Gabriel and then Shador. They drafted Gabriel to try and eliminate the idea of drafting Shador, and then when he fell again, they're like, let's take him again. They took him, and good on them for doing it, but, Shador is amazing. I think Shador could be a top 12 quarterback in this league, and I think people that think he can't is laughable to me, and you're just a hater. You're a hater because of his father. You're a hater because he says legendary. You don't give him any respect for how he's carried himself through this entire process in a very humble fashion. Kept his head down, worked. I'm not saying he's been built to be a humble person. I'm saying he seems like a really good kid that lived in his father's shadow and was forced to say legendary, let's wear gold chains, we're the best, because his dad was standing next to him his entire life, even through college, as his only coach he's ever known. So he had no other way to act. He had no other way. And I love Shiloh. Shiloh's phenomenal to root for and cheer for. I think Shador is a phenomenal kid and fun to cheer for. And I love how he looks fantastic. Shador to the moon. He keeps rising in value. I hope the Browns screw this up somehow. I think Shador is playing too good for them to mess this up. I think they were talking about, we're only going to keep one of Shador and Gabriel. That would be a blessing to a team if they were to head that direction. But Shador's looking too good. He looks fantastic right now.
That's cool. All right, man. I'm out of here. Take care,
All
everybody.
right. Hey, BBQ, appreciate you. Everybody in the chat, can't thank you enough for all the gifted memberships and the support, bro. So BBQ to the moon. Johnny just hung up again. Johnny, see you later, Johnny. All right, later. Let me go over to Joel. Joel, you're live. BBQ to the moon.
What's up? So I have a 4th overall pick. I found out last night. So redraft 12-team league. I'm hoping I get Jahmyr Gibbs. That's the hope. I'm probably going Barkley or Gibbs because I'm pretty sure Bijan and Jamar Chase are going 1 and 2.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate it. I don't love Barkley there myself.
I'm going Barkley or Gibbs. I think the running back.
I heard you.
I know Barkley. I mean, CD Lamb could be an option too, but yeah, 1.4.
I mean, I don't blame you, but I just don't agree. I'm not taking Barkley at 1.4. Yeah. I would in a best ball draft, but in a home league, I'm not doing it. I'm not going to risk all that plus carries. He slowed down during the Super Bowl, and not that he can't rejuvenate. I do believe, just like Nabers is going to blow up in the first month of football, Barkley's going to be unbelievable in the first month of football. But he's going to like the battery and the leaf blower example I give. I got that leaf blower, and I charge it, and then when I turn it on, I'm like, this thing's back. This thing's back, and it's going nuts. And then within about 3 minutes, it goes, and it just dies. Could you guys hear that noise I made? I'm finding that my limiter on my mic really doesn't catch weird things. Like I can whistle, you won't hear me whistle. I can, when I do noises like that, sometimes somebody said they couldn't hear it. I mean, that
it went in and out on the stream. I just checked it.
It's crazy that it decides that it can hear my voice, but when I do it can't. It decides.
High pitch.
Yeah,
like when you whistle too.
All right, what about that's my leaf blower. Lower pitch is okay. Can you guys hear that? What about a low pitch? Can I low pitch whistle? I don't know.
That like low pitch hum or whatever, like it started and then it tailed off.
I don't know.
Like cut that into the
and my voice never cuts out on any like consistent way though. So the limiter isn't limiting.
No,
okay.
Maybe it's more to limit like sounds more than anything.
Right, but how does it?
Certain...
How's it determine? You know, it's crazy how it determines when I'm. Low pitch was a little bit better. Do you guys ever hear? It pretty much my words are never cut out though, right? If the chat could let me know on that, you're not hearing any sort of like, okay, every like eighth word, Smitty, I can't hear that word. I just want to make sure that the rest of everything else is good. When you step away, what about back here? If I remember when what's his name? God, he's gonna be so mad on Blanket. Wes. Wes's heart just broke. When Wes was doing he was talking about the aliens. Someone says yes, you could hear it. You could hear it back there. So if I whistle back here, can you hear it? No, we good. Words are good. All good. Okay, can you guys hear that whistling or no? But Wes basically, I can always switch over. I can always switch over to this and go. So I tried to whistle the X-Files music when Wes was talking about aliens, and I was in the background going. I think you guys can hear that now because this mic has no limiter. The phone line can't because the phone line's connected just to this limiter mic, I think. So you probably couldn't hear anything, right, Travis?
No.
Whenever I gotta do something like that, I gotta can't hear that? You can't hear the whistling? Hold on.
Not really.
There you go. You should have been able to hear that. I think I didn't have it clicked. Okay, now
the stream could hear it. We couldn't hear it on the phone.
So Wes was talking about stuff, and in the background, I went and rewatched it. In the background, I was going, and it looked really weird. Like, what is Smitty doing? Is he having a tick? Because I'm sitting there going in the background, but you can't hear anything, and I do it for like 30, 40 seconds, and I just look like a bird. I'm all in the background, and I'm whistling, and I'm thinking, oh, this is funny. I'm whistling the X-Files, but I'm just going, and I'm watching the replay, and I'm like, what in the hell is going on here? Where's my sound?
So just let's talk about aliens, and you making faces on the screen.
I know. I'm like, yeah. So if I enable both of them, you get an echo right now, unfortunately. But I could do this so that way the phone line can hear me, but there's an echo for the crowd, and I can whistle. And my weedy or my leaf blower example, I was saying that my leaf blower goes and just like dies out of nowhere. The phone line couldn't hear that. That was what I was trying to do. Anyway, all right. Let me see.
You feel like 10 super chats.
10. I think I have 2. 10?
I don't know. Quite a few. I'm sure. Maybe not 10.
I see 2. Let me see.
Two.
I got
Joe Milton.
Yeah,
Joe Milton one.
Milton, Neighbors, St. Brown. I took care of that one.
Oh, never mind.
If anybody,
No,
if I haven't
that's
answered someone's super chat, let me know. But I got the 2 most recent ones on screen. Viral says, I forgot to add Nico Collins. Also, who do you like more, Jackson Smith and Jigba or Garrett Wilson? I go G. Willie. I love both of them. If Milrow were in there, I think it'd be a 50-50 like debate. But I'm going to say G. Willie for now. I love G. Willie. Jackson Smith and Jigba, I love. What's this Nico Collins thing though? What you forgot to add him for what though? Let's see here. I think you missed my super chat. How would you rank these guys? Okay, so I would go BTJ. No, London BTJ tied. London BTJ London. Bucky Nico. No, probably Neighbors Nico. Probably Neighbors Nico for now, and then Amon-Ra. I think Nico's got some red flags too. You know, staying healthy, Stroud, the offensive line. So, I mean, I can't knock Neighbors and not knock Nico. So, I would probably say that. Hey, Smitty, I'm drafting at the 1.6 in a PPR format. I don't think CD and Gibbs will be there at my pick. Any suggestions? Saquon scares me at the price. Yeah, I mean, of course. CD and Gibbs gone. Genty, I'm not afraid to take Genty. I'm not afraid to take, I mean, at that 6 pick, I imagine you'll get Lamb or Gibbs, though. If you don't, I'm not afraid to take Genty. I'm not. I don't care what anybody says. He could be the number 1 running back this year. He could be at least a top 3 running back. You're drafting him at a high ceiling, and he's got to deliver, but I think he can. I take Genty. I think he's your safest bet, Joey. You won't lose sleep over it. You'll absolutely enjoy watching Genty play ball, bro.
I feel like Achan's going to outscore Genty. But they're close.
That wasn't a super flex, was it? If it's a super flex, no, that one, Joey. Is that your question, Joey? Are you Joey?
No, I'm not Joey.
Okay. Yeah. I would definitely be like, quarterback if it's super flex, but I don't think it was. So I go Genty. Genty could be a baller. This is absolute baller. Now could Achan outscore him? Sure, but you're gonna get Achan potentially in that 2nd round pick. He could. It's not guaranteed, but Achan's not locked into the 1st round right now. So who knows? But I take Genty. All right, go ahead, Joel. Any final thoughts?
Yeah, no. So I just think I'm gonna take Gibbs or Barkley at 1.4.
Well,
I'm gonna hopefully it's Gibbs. I'm going Gibbs over Barkley, obviously.
Barkley's had 480 plus touches last year.
I just feel like the Eagles' offense is too good. It's just too many red zone looks.
But still, that has nothing to do with my concern. Nothing. That's a completely different topic. Doesn't matter how good the offense is if he can't staying healthy is the concern. 480 plus touches is insane. 430. Is this my new? Where's my pen? What is going on here? 430 plus carries and 480 plus touches, bro. That is a lot. This breaks running backs. The 371 carry curse is that one total that would break, like DeMarco Murray broke. There's a ton of running backs that have broken on 371 carries. This man crushed it, 430. And he's got an injury history. I get it, losing your offensive coordinator as well is a bad thing. I just, and it's not like you also have Jalen Hurts, always going to threaten to take some of those touchdowns.
Yeah.
You're near the one.
So you think I should?
You're not running Barkley right now.
Think I should? Maybe I'll consider CD Lamb or Gibbs then, because I think the top 3 is going to be pretty clear.
Lamb is fantastic. He's going to have a great.
Yeah, Lamb at 1.4. Yeah, I like Lamb. He's safe.
All right, we'll see you later, Joel. Appreciate you.
All right, later. Peace out.
I think Joel sounds a lot like Kruger. Like, what's going on? Hey, buddy. Joel, are you Kruger's son? BBQ, you still there? You got anything else before we close the show out? We'll be back at midnight Eastern to draft on Underdog.
Yeah.
Link in the
I had a
description.
question. I can't do the midnight show, man. I got to get up early and get my run in. So,
no problem.
What's the over/under on Milroe take it over for Darnold when he finds out? Do you have a guesstimate on number of games, and then how good would that running game look? Milroe back there, and Walker and Charbs.
Yeah, it's hard to say what it's going to look. I think it's just going to be such a efficient offense that it'll just be a really good run attack. And the fact that Milroe, you'll have to spy him. He's so dangerous, you know. I think you're probably looking at, if I had to, like if you said, this is the way I like to do these predictions. If you said, my pinky toe is on the line and I can only be wrong by 2 games in either direction. But so then I got to place it right. I would say week 4 is good. So I can be wrong in 2 directions. It could be week 3. It could be week 2. It could be week 5. It could be week 6. So that feels the safest to me. I'd say week 4. We have Milroe in the lineup. I know that sounds early, but you're talking about if Darnold struggles in week 1, you're already hearing it. If he struggles in week 2, you're definitely hearing it. If he struggles in week 3, that's like you just can't keep going. And so that's why I kind of envision it here. And could I see a team doing it for a little bit longer? Yeah, unfortunately, we saw the Falcons do it. And the reason why they're going to give him, maybe I move it to 5 or 6 because of this reason. When you pay somebody as much money as you paid Darnold, when you pay somebody as much money as you paid Cousins, you do hang on a little longer. But I think because Milroe looks so good and they saw Penix Jr. have success and they know what they have in Milroe, they like him a lot. And because Darnold, probably won't, I think Darnold might look lesser than Kirk Cousins did at the beginning of the year for the Falcons. So I don't know. I could definitely see if he's bad for 3 straight weeks, they just pull the plug. And the fan base will be just clamoring for it. They'll be so excited. As are we for Milroe. Now, the Milton thing is different. I think Milroe takes Darnold's job. So he has a higher likelihood of starting before Milton. Milton's not going to be able to unseat Dak if Dak's playing well. And the offense is so good that I don't think Dak is going to play badly. I think Dak is going to ball out. And I think Dak and Milton is a fantastic QB combo this year. But Milton, it's a matter of, when. When Milton gets into the lineup, let's say it's week number 10 because Dak gets hurt, then I think it's his team from that point on. I don't think Milton lets go of the job. And I just think he's that good. If he gets any chance of run, he looks so good that this is a Breeze and River situation. This is a, any situation you want to dial up, the Bledsoe. And I'm not trying to suggest that Milton will be, any all-time great. I'm just merely saying that we've seen many teams be put in a position where the guy that comes in is better, and you just have to make the tough call. And they're going to have to make the tough call. And with Dak's struggles over the years, his inability, even though he hasn't been supported properly, in my opinion, his inability to win playoff games, I don't think Jerry's a wild man who's going to make wild decisions. And I'm not saying this is a wild decision in a bad way either, this one, but he's the kind of guy who would say, we're going to roll with what we got. I mean, can't you see Jerry walking out to, a crowd of reporters and going, we're going to keep it rolling. Things are going good. We don't see a issue of rushing Dak back. Dak stubbed his toe on the coffee table, and we want him to be healthy, and we're going to keep rolling with what we got right now. I just think, and Jerry will probably tell you straight up. But do you remember when Dak got injured and he was out for the year? That reporter asked him, how do you think you're going to play without Dak? And he said, better. He doesn't like Dak. He didn't want to pay Dak. He felt pressured to pay Dak. So he doesn't love Dak. He's not married to Dak. That money might make it seem like that, but he's not. Now, his dead cap is awful. I believe it's 180, but getting traded in the midseason, I'd have to look at what that even means. But next year, I believe his dead cap, I'm not 100%, but I think his dead cap's like 120 million. So he's not a very movable player in the offseason. But if, I think they'd have to look at it.
Yeah, his ability to stay healthy is a big concern. He just always seems to be dinged up, nicked up, and I mean, you put Milton in there, and I just think he'll shine.
Milton is so athletic. Milton is probably by far and away the most athletic quarterback in the National Football League. We thought AR5 was impressively athletic. Milton is smooth. Everything AR5 does is, you could almost call it rigid. He's a very rigid athlete, but could steamroll over anybody running. But he's breaking already. He's just not. AR5 will not stay healthy. His shoulder is falling apart. Milton is the most athletic quarterback in the National Football League, and it's not even close. Maybe Hurts can out-squat him and all that, but Milton is going to be the smoothest operator. That we're probably going to have the smooth, operator video for Milton, and I'll create it ahead of time so it's ready. But it's going to be the smooth, Milton Raider. He is just the smoothest cat on the field. And the backflips he does, I don't know if anybody saw that. I think I have it here. I can show you. Just unreal, the athleticism of this. I don't want him doing this, to be honest with you. Last thing in the world I want him to do is get hurt. So I wish he wouldn't do this. But here's Milton. This is Milton on the sideline. That's Dak going, don't take my job. Don't take my job. Here it is right here. So Milton jumps up and just does this. What are we doing? This is a quarterback. This is the most athletic player maybe in the entire National Football League. What in the hell is he doing? And I don't like this. I almost tore my Achilles watching this. My Achilles is real sore from just watching this video. But this guy is the most athletic quarterback in the entire National Football League. What in the hell's wrong with this guy? How is he doing that? How is he doing this? What in the hell is he doing? Milton's it. I've never felt this strongly about a Hail Mary fantasy call than this one right here. Milton's it. He's it. You can say whatever you want, hater out there, but we haven't seen it yet. Okay. Go watch your Mickey Mouse show then, if that makes you more comfortable. This guy, does this look like the kind of guy that's not nipping at Dak's heels? Look at Dak. Stop doing that. Stop. Dak's marching over. Stop doing that. Stop doing that. You're making me look bad. I can barely walk. Oh. All right. Hey, boys, I'm out of here. BBQ, appreciate your super chats. Appreciate your support. The chat loves you. Call in more often. I don't know if you're able to call in it during the season a little more. We'd love to hear from you.
Yeah, definitely. I will.
All right. Later, bro. Thank you.
Later.
BBQ to the moon. Travis, any final thoughts?
Just a quick question from someone in the chat. They were saying they have the 10th pick in a 14-man league. He says he likes getting Henry or Ladd instead of going Nabers, Puka, or Collins in the first, and then getting Irvin Bucky in the second. I want to know which combo is better. He feels like Henry is safer. Henry or Ladd,
Ladd in the first. Ladd in the first round. No way.
Oh yeah, you can't do that.
When the hell? That's
Henry or Ladd in the going in the second. I don't know if I'd take them there, but if you want them, they go in the second, right?
Yeah.
For redraft. So he's got to get someone else in the first. Then even in a 14-man league, he's going to be behind the 8 ball clock, right?
Yeah. Ladd's not even a guy I take in the top of round 2. I'm not that I don't like Ladd.
I guess his worry is he's worried about Nabers, Puka, and Collins. So he's got to find someone else that's a bit.
Then you take BTJ. You take London if you want to reach on a wide receiver. and then take Bucky. But yeah, I'm not putting Ladd up in there. If anything, you can take, if anything, just
Henry in the first and Ladd in the second.
Okay. Well, I'd take Genty over personally. You can do whatever you want, but I'm picking Genty all day long. And Genty should be there. Genty's ADP is between like 1.8 and 1.12. So take Genty. I'm not taking Henry. And then Ladd. I don't like Ladd in 2. I love Ladd in 3. I love Ladd in round 3, but I think people are forcing Ladd up too high. You know, he was a top 12 wide receiver 3 times last year. I'm not saying he won't be amazing this year, but everyone's painting this picture of a top 14 overall player, and we can't assume he's there yet. And Trey Harris is there, and this is a run-first offense that just got their running back room in order so that they can do that. Last year, they had to throw a lot more. And I'm not saying Herbert won't do well. I'm not saying Ladd won't be great. Ladd's going to have 170-yard games, probably times 3. He'll have, but this is still a player that, we can't draft as a guy that's going to consistently always be giving you top 12 or 13 overall numbers. He would be a home run league winner in the 3rd round. Just like, we're getting Garrett Wilson there, getting MHJ there. Ladd should be, and even if you want to rank Ladd ahead of Garrett Wilson and MHJ at 3.2, like that would be a league winning maybe. But taking Ladd in the 2nd is not my cup of tea. I'm taking London all day. London drops to the 15 overall pick, the 18 overall pick. He's certainly going to be there, especially the higher up the pick is in round 2. But honestly, it sounds to me like the guy that's asking this is trying to plan it. Don't plan it. Take the best player available. If you believe it's Henry, take him. But I think you're overthinking it by trying to plan out what order you're taking. I think when you're on the clock, decide in your gut who is the best player and draft him. And then when you get to round 2, if it ends up being RB, then you're going to go wide receiver shopping later. But I think it's crazy planning it to the point where like you're literally trying to argue these 3 ideas only. You're getting too focused on it. You're going to end up passing on value. You're going to get thrown off and you're going to be like, I have only 2 things planned. What do I do? I mean, Genty's the guy. I'm taking Genty at 6 if I need to. Look at this real quickly. Look at this. Look at this guy. Look at this guy. I'm telling you, he's coming for everybody. This guy's going to shock the world. And I love all the haters. I love all the, no offense, but like this comment right here, whatever your name is, V2U. Smitty, the knock on Milton is, the guy that hasn't even played enough, yeah, in some ways to say, Smitty, how can you say this? But the guy you also are trying to say can't read defenses in your comment, when you haven't even seen him play a full season. Like, you're judging a man that is essentially he'd have a rookie season to play. JD5 couldn't read defenses either, V2U, everyone said. JD5 was going to get crushed by NFL-sized players. JD5 had a bad offensive line. Bo Nix needed to read defense. Like, every quarterback needs to learn to read defenses better. This is some wishy-washy stuff that someone said. I heard that explains why the Pats moved on. The Pats moved on because they didn't want him overshadowing Drake May like he's overshadowing Dak right now. I'm not saying they got a good deal. They should have got way more. But this whole notion of you find his ability to read defenses when he hasn't even played long enough for you to see that. And of course he needs to learn to read better because he hasn't played a full season yet. But doesn't mean he won't dominate as he learns on the job. There's some nonsense that people throw out there. And it's like people just regurgitate it. Like, he can't read defense. Debo looks overweight. Debo doesn't. Debo's actually in some of the best shape he's ever been in. But I heard it somewhere else, Smitty, and I'm going to repeat it. I heard it on another channel, damn it. It happened. It happened, and I'm here to repeat it. Debo's overweight. Yeah, that's what I heard. I'm going to continue to repeat it. All right, go ahead, Travis.
Yeah. The Patriots, like, they didn't move on because of ability. They moved on, like you said. They didn't want the May distraction from May, which I disagree with. But the other thing is that Milton was going to be a squeaky wheel. He wasn't. He's going to talk until he gets playing time. He's very confident. So, which in some ways that's good, but they obviously decided they didn't want that going on when they're trying to develop May, so they moved on. They didn't get enough for him. That's why they moved on, not because of his ability.
Smitty, I own Milton. I'm just asking you to evaluate the claim I heard. Well, I did. I'm not mad at you, bro. Don't take offense to it. I'm just telling you, and passionately telling you that the way people go about some fantasy takes is wild to me. You know, as someone has said in the comments, which is 100% true. Pat Mahomes didn't know how to read defenses almost in his entire first year. Like this stuff does happen. You have to learn on the job. But he looks remarkable while he's walking through the early stages. That's what you got to understand. Identifying a monster breakout quarterback in the early stages that's what you're doing. You're trying to figure out. Like, you don't think Bo Nix is going to take 2-3 steps forward this year, and JD5 is going to take 2 or 3 steps forward as well. It's just everybody's already thinking he's maxed out, and he can't get better, can he? Yes, he can. Timothy says, why not DeAndre Swift? Why not DeAndre Swift? Such a vague question, Timothy. Am I speaking about something that DeAndre Swift's name should come up, or are you just saying in general, like, why not DeAndre? Smitty, should I worry about too many rookies on my draft team? No. It depends on the rookies you take, though. Just like I was not on Judkins, that would have worked out. So far it is. Like, not every rookie should be on every team, but the specific group of rooks
in a jam. Call
H&H
and Associates.
Triple H and Associates. Locations on Earth and Jupiter.
The rookies that you take matter a lot. But I would say Swift, there's a chance Swift does well, but I think that Chicago struggles so badly that they trade for a running back. And so that's why I'm not. And he's injury prone, which he played well and he stayed healthy. I'm not saying there isn't a lure there, but like at what cost? Tell me a cost and I'll tell you whether I like it. But in general, I find liking other players hand over fist more than Swift where Swift's going. It's not about totally hating Swift. It's just saying, okay, I'm on the clock. Swift's there. Not bad, but these 5 guys every time are always there. I'm taking those 5 guys in variation and never drafting Swift. That's why not Swift. It's not that he can't do it. I just don't trust Chicago, Caleb, that Ben doesn't trade for a running back, that Roshan doesn't outplay him and be the heavier version of the Monty Gibbs, and he leans more on that part, and then the Swift part is lighter than the Gibbs side. You know, it's kind of like the inverse of his running stable. Players don't stay in some cryogenic state. They develop and get better in the system they are in, and he has all the tools to be successful. Thank you, BBQ. BBQ is right. Milton's just a beast, and you got to identify that talent very early on. You can't start acting like these guys won't get better. That's just crazy. Don't regurgitate that. Smitty, I own Milton. Oh, I already read that. Smitty, I own Milton. Just want you to evaluate his claim. I did. I hopefully you're not mad. I'm just telling you how I see it.
Real quick, and I'll jump off. Big Profit was wondering, he can get Nabers and Milton for 2 mid-first and a late first. Do that, right?
Nabers and Milton for what?
2 mid-first round picks and a late first round pick.
So 3 firsts. I would easily give this. I don't care if you told me one of them is probably has a really strong shot at being top 4. I'm still doing this trade.
Yep.
Easily. And that goes to show that I love Nabers, just so people understand. Like this is going to be one of the most misunderstood things I think all offseason, or the in season. Mm-hmm. You didn't like Nabers when he's having a great month 1. And then, it's just, unfortunately, it's going to be one of those situations where it doesn't matter what he does in week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4. If you can trade him, it's a great proposition. If you're willing to take on that kind of unknown set of risks that are on top of the toe, like his toe could go out at any moment while you're holding him. That's a risk. And his team could play like trash, and he rotates quarterbacks, and he has like 2-3 transition games that are bad, and then you have that risk factor, and then trying to trade him right before, maybe suffering through some sort of soreness, and he's on the injury report for 4 straight weeks, but he's still playing, and everyone's scared to go trade for him. So it's just better to say, is London the guy you're going to go attack via trade anyway? So then just draft London. Is BTJ the guy you're going to go attack via trade anyway? Just draft BTJ. And you got to also ask yourself, okay, Nabers is going to be a beast, an absolute monster. But will he be a monster in the TD category? Because his team will not live in the red zone as much as another team that's on a high potent, very successful offense. This team's going to have 5 or 6 wins on the year. They're going to be a very bad team, and they're going to look to shut him down early. But even if they didn't, he'll dominate yards and receptions, but what will his touchdowns look like? BTJ, even if he doesn't play as well in the yardage or reception department, which I think he can, he just proved it. He was number 4 last year out of all wide receivers. He beat out Nabers. But even if, let's say, Nabers bests him in yards and receptions, BTJ is probably more likely to have a 12 TD season than Nabers is. And so you just gotta look at all the pieces. Super chat from Pierce said 1.4 in a 12-man PPR, Gibbs or Lamb. There's no answer here, Pierce. There's just no answer. It comes down to you. These are equal players. My favorite teams on Underdog seem to be Lamb, Bucky, Kyron, Lamb, Bucky. You know, starting something like that, Lamb. I've gotten Lamb in Achan. I've gotten Lamb in I've gone Lamb London. I've done stuff like that, but Gibbs is phenomenal. If it's a home league, I tend to lean a little bit toward RB just because Underdog, the wide receivers get raptured from the board earlier. So I find myself going Gibbs and Bucky in 12 and 10-man non-best balls and still landing Garrett Wilson, Travis Hunter, Deebo Samuel. And, that team, I mean, look at this team. You get Gibbs, Bucky, G. Willie, Hunter, Rice. I mean, you can land this in some formats. He's getting so dotted down to the 4-5 turn. Let's call it 4. We'll say Rice is 3, Bucky's 2, Gibbs is 1, Hunter's 5, Rashee Rice is 4, and then Mahomes. Like, you can get this team very easily. That Gibbs team's phenomenal. And Bucky, you might get London there and you're fine if you want to go that route. And then you get Kyron here. I like that. That's fine. We'll write that in. So London and then Kyron. So you can't really go wrong as long as you draft the right players, as you move down but to cement it in, it's not as easy as that. Gibbs or Lamb. All things are equal. They're very, very close. You just got to lean by what you think you can build best. You know what I'm saying? All right, Travis, good question, though. Thank you for that super chat. Travis, anything else? We'll be back at midnight Eastern.
No, I'll talk to you then. Thanks, Smitty.
Later, bro. Hopefully I can find that McVay quote. Travis, if you're still listening, if you do end up finding it, let me know. I'll look for it too, but I want to hear McVay speak about the back injury. Just because I have a funny feeling. I just have a funny feeling that he's not saying it the way everyone's taking it and writing it. I think he might just be like, look, the end goal is the season, not the preseason. So we're going to hold him out instead of bringing him back Monday and rushing. We're just going to keep him out a little longer, but he'll be ready, fully ready for week 1. And the end goal is week 1, not anything else. Like, that just might be the way he's talking about it. See you guys all at midnight Eastern. We'll be drafting. BBQ says he's never had so much fun in fantasy football. That's right, pal. Because we're half entertainment, half content, and that doesn't mean the content still doesn't blow away the non-entertaining show that's trying to 100% be content without entertainment. We do it all. We chew gum and walk at the same time and do it live. That's how Dad did it. It's how America does it. It's worked out pretty good so far. See you all at midnight Eastern, where we draft on Underdog. promo code Smitty. The link's pinned in the live chat. The link's in the description of the video in case you're watching the replay. Code Smitty gets it done as well. There's the link one more time. You will not get in. It's a $10 minimum. They'll match up to 50% on your first deposit all the way up to $1,000, but it's only a $10 minimum. But sign up, $10 minimum, and you will not get into the draft if you don't do that now because it fills up like this. I want to draft with you tonight. Join me tonight at midnight Eastern. I'll be back. I'll see you all later. I'll be back. Thanks, mods. Thank you, super chatters. Appreciate you all. Thank you, Pierce. Thank you, Timothy. Thank you, BBQ. Thank you, Joey. Thank you, Viral Clips. Thank you, Dan. Thank you, Big Profit. Thank you, Snap. Thank you, Viral. Thank you, Snap. Thank you, Viral. Thank you, Rock Out for the super chat. Thank you, Purdy. Appreciate you. Kevin. What was that? I kept calling you James, but I think it's, I guess it's James. I don't know. Sorry. Fozzie, appreciate you. Jim, thank you. Salty, appreciate you. KRS, thank you again. KB, appreciate you. Rock Out. T Guns with a $50 hauler, and then Melvin with the first super chat of the night. Appreciate every single one of you. BBQ dropping the 50 gifted memberships. 50 gifted memberships by BBQ. Here's that right there. Can't thank BBQ enough for all that he does in supporting the channel. Glad that he called in today. See you all at midnight Eastern. Dose.
He's Kyron, he's 7 feet tall, and he knows how to handle a ball. What is that smell? Someone needs me.
Help! Help! I'm going to lose my fantasy week! Somebody help! Call the Scat Man!
He's the Scat Man. He's scatting all around. Scoring loads when he's called upon. He will ground and pound. Scat Man, yeah. He's the guy you call when things go astray. Scat Man can score all day. He's the Scat Man. Scat Man. Scat Man. Scat Man. Scat Man will score TDs. He will make you get on your knees and say, please, Scat Man, I beg no more. I've had enough of your touchdown galore. Please, Scat Man, I beg no more. I've had enough of your touchdown galore.
I'm just saying, no one owns that video yet with the $100 hauler. That's the long version. All you got to say is $100 hauler, Smitty. I want to sponsor the long version of the Scatman video, please. We haven't played the long version in a while. I don't think some of you have even seen that. Maybe someone will claim it on the evening show. When we walk in, if anybody wants to drop a $100 hauler, has ever wanted to sponsor a video, you get your name on the video, and every time we play it, your name's sitting there with that $100 hauler super chat. But when we walk in, just say, $100 hauler, give me the long version of the Scatman video, and do it now. All right, see you all at midnight Eastern. Get ready to draft. Link in description. Dose. Sick Nasty says, turn on your YouTube settings. Make sure you can receive gifts in your YouTube settings. All right, see you all tonight.
jam, call HHH and Associates.
Triple H and Associates. Locations on Earth and Jupiter.